Oye, te habla tío Savio Vega. This is Savio Vega and you watching Tru Heel Heat. A mi manera o pa' la calle.
This is the knockout artist, Kris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Hey guys, it's Thunder Rosa and welcome to Tru Heel Heat.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat.
What's up? Tru Heel Heat. All hands is on me.
What y'all want to talk about, though? Where you at? Where y'all at in the chat? Where y'all at, Warriors fans? Where y'all at, Laker haters? Where y'all at, LeBron haters? Where y'all at, AD haters? They try to hate on us. They try to keep us down. Y'all thought y'all was coming in for Tru Heel Heat. No, y'all are here for the Laker morning church. We are at church because the Lakers have made it to the promised land, the Western Conference Finals. We started out 2-10, and we're going to the championship. We're about to be the champions of the Western Conference. You had people saying, ha ha, 2-10. Ha ha, you started out 13th place. Ha ha, you started out 12th place. Ha ha, you started at 11th place. You got 10th place. Enjoy the play-in. Oh, Memphis in 5, Warriors in 6, and now we in the Western Conference Finals. How y'all looking? How y'all feeling? Huh, Warriors fans? Laker haters? How y'all feeling? I ain't even gonna hit the intro because it's all about the Lake Show. It's all about LeBron James. It's all about Anthony Davis. It's all about him, Austin Reeves. What y'all talking about? We ain't even gonna talk about wrestling today. We talking about the Los Angeles Lakers in this place. Take a breath. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for Tru Heel Heat 225. Straight Edge Jesus Second Coming, discussing the latest wrestling news, including the second coming of CM Punk in June next month. Punk pitching to face Samoa Joe upon his return, rumors of AEW's new TV deal, recap of this week in wrestling with WWE Backlash featuring Bad Bunny stealing the show, AEW Dynamite featuring Don Callis turning on Kenny Omega, WWE Smackdown featuring the return of the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, Raw NXT, the start of the Best of the Super Juniors Tournament 30 for New Japan Pro Wrestling, GCW had a show, Impact had a show, RoH had a show, plus you'll hear our match of the week picks. I am not joined by Miss Chrissy Love, not joined by Top Guy JJ. So we had to bring the reinforcements, the youngest in charge. You see all his great writing, one of the best news writers in all of professional wrestling at 25 years old, looking like 20. He is the man you hear over at the NWA podcast on Post Wrestling. Andrew Thompson is back on our show. How you doing, good sir?
What's going on, SP3, man? That's a beautiful introduction right there, man. Made my morning, bro. I appreciate it. It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. And congratulations. I just saw the Sami Callihan interview on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Go check that out, man. Promote that. Boom. Boom.
I love it. I love it. We like washing each other's hands to start off the show, man. It's all good in the hood. I'm rooting for Pistons to get the #1 draft pick. We all love here. We all love here. It's all love.
Hey, say I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I'm praying on the Lakers' downfall, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. But look, it's at this point now where I might have to stop being vocal about it because me just thinking it in my head is not working. Obviously, like y'all, but like to be honest with you, like I had a feeling y'all was gonna beat Memphis because Memphis they too out of control over there, bro. Like they don't know what the hell going on in that organization. And then when I saw y'all beat Golden State last night, I was like, what is happening right now? Like what is really happening? Like are the Lakers really about to do this right now? Like coming back from the bottom of the barrel when they come to the playoffs, and then these dudes just acting like they the first seed. But you don't know what. In all seriousness, though, dude, Rob Pelinka, the moves that he made to like flip that team into what it is now. But I don't even know. But is there a GM?
I don't think we've ever seen something like this.
But
and
this
like
is
a team that started this bad and had this bad of a roster turn it around the way they did at the trade deadline. We've had big time trades at the trade deadline, but nothing that has transformed a team like the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right, let me tell you this: the worst thing that can happen to this team next season, like, because honestly, I think y'all could beat Denver. It might go. It's gonna go 7, but y'all could beat Denver. Denver ain't unbeatable, but they good. They're really good.
I think like the Memphis series, like the Golden State series, we got to finish it in 6. If we go to 7, I don't believe that we can beat them in Denver in a 7th game. But that we could talk about basketball throughout the podcast. I got you here the whole time. Thank you so much for joining me, Andrew. Thank you everyone for joining us. Remember to drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. We're here every Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. So we appreciate y'all for joining us. And of course, we are new era of the Tru Heel Heat podcast because I'll have the regular standard kind of guest host like we got Andrew this week. Usually it's me and Miss Chrissy Love, and we're going to have periodic guests throughout the show, a revolving door of guests. And first up today, I had to bring in someone that Andrew is familiar with. Someone that the people here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel are familiar with because he was on our highest viewed episode ever of the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. He is the godfather of wrestling media, the godfather of the NWA podcast over on Post Wrestling, king of sport himself. The brother Nate Milton has joined us. Brother Nate, how you doing?
Boo.
Wrestling podcasts have always had more than one royal family, so I'm representing the kings of sport in here. SP3, I know you and the nephew talked about the Lakers. Let me adjust the camera. I'm doing my own camera work so people can get
oh my goodness.
This man right here, Cody, Devontae Rhodes, and much like your Lakers said, Cody had to go through some adversity. But you know what? A wise man once said, hard times breed better men, and that's what's happening with these Los Angeles Lakers. Said nobody gave him a shot against the defending, reigning, undisputed champion Golden State Warriors, but LeBron and this ragtag bunch of has-beens and never was has come together. Austin Reeves, nobody knew who this man Austin Reeves was. Out here looking like the professor from the N1 mixtapes back in the day. Austin Reeves doing his thing. Rui Hachimura carrying that flag for Japan in the NBA, doing the damn thing. D'Angelo Russell, the man that was cast out of LA, the prodigal son, for taping people's extramarital affairs. You know, we don't approve snitching on this show, but D'Angelo has redeemed himself, Sid. And then you bring it on to the king. you bring it back to the king, LeBron James. This man said, I got a lot left in the tank. I'm Mark Henry on these streets wearing a pink salmon jacket. You ain't going to get rid of the king that easy. So I agree, Sid. I think the Lakers got a shot to make it to the finals, but they got to do it in 6 because that boy Jokic.
Got to do it in 6.
You got to do it in 6.
I called him Jokic. I'm getting my European centers mixed up. But the Joker is a bad man. He ain't the MVP because he's too boring to be the MVP, but he's a bad man, Sid.
Well, all I will say, I respect Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic in these playoffs, he's been the best center in the NBA.
That's
triple-double machine, dropping 53 on the Phoenix Suns. But all I will also say, no matter what you call him, Nikola Jokic, the Joker, the Penguin, Scarecrow, Lakers in 6. Lakers in 6. Lakers in 6.
we got.
I don't care if it's the Denver Nuggets, chicken nuggets.
KFC got the new nuggets on deck.
Chicken tenders, chicken cutlets, chicken parmesan.
Said chicken cutlets.
Lakers in 6. Lakers in
Angelo
6.
with the hookup on the chicken palm.
Lakers in 6. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Thank you, Brother Nate, for joining us and dropping that sermon for us, letting us know why the Lakers is in the conference finals. And thank you, everyone in the live chat who's joining us. You got a bunch of comments already. Keep those comments coming in the live chat. This is an interactive podcast, so we love to highlight as many comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you can send a super chat donation. It helps the channel grow. We always will highlight your comment on screen. And the next 2 weeks, it's going to the SP3 birthday fund because my birthday is on Thursday. That's why the Lakers got to get one in Denver. They got to get one in Denver my birthday week. They got to get one in Denver my birthday week. And of course, like I said, the super chat donation will go to the birthday fund as well. We got Vala B who says, sup, Tru Heel Heat fam, all good this Saturday. I normally have a separate message for the guests, but Andrew has been at the cookout enough that he's part of the regular fam. So is Brother Nate. So is one of our other guests. All of our guests today is a part of the cookout. They are part of the regular fam. Thank you, Andrew and Nate, for joining us today. We appreciate y'all. And yes, Lakers pop. Lakers pop. Jeff says LeBron James is the godfather of the NBA. We shall all respect. Indeed, it's a bunch of love for my Lakers. I love to see it. I love to see it.
It's going to be even better when LeBron dip out in the Lakers for whoever team drafted his son.
Yep.
Why you gotta go there though? Why we focus on the now? We focus on the present. You think about the future?
SP3, you know it's coming. You know
He's gonna request his trade. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. We trying to get this W this year so we can tank for Bronny. We're gonna tank for Bronny next year.
LeBron to the Timberwolves confirmed.
Bug says, looks like I was right. SP3 got into TK's nose candy stats. No,
Jesus, bruh.
No.
What?
This is all love. This is all love. All love, y'all.
Nose candy?
Follow me saying Sid is the best hype man. Make a brother bludge. We got Kaden in the chat with us, joining us. We got bunch of love for Andrew and brother Nate in the chat. Thank y'all so much. We got Vala B saying Embiid gonna make the finals. So I don't know how they played in Game 6.
Hey man, look,
I don't know.
Embiid and Harden, it's their year to go to the finals. It's their year to go to the finals. Let me tell you something. If Boston win, the Lakers got this thing in the bag if they can get through Denver. But Boston ain't not. I'm telling you, bro. Tatum is going to choke. He is going to choke.
But you
that's
know,
what's gonna happen, I'm telling you.
You know the NBA wants Boston.
They want
Boston and Los Angeles. They want that. They want that more than
I feel like you sleeping on that man Henry Butler on these streets though, SP3.
Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I know more than anyone. I'm not
That's
one of those people that said the bubble was an arbitrary thing or was it was easy. You see, 3 out of the 4 bubble teams that was in the conference finals during the bubble is still in this game. It's still in this. 3 out of the 4 is in the conference finals. So that's all I would say.
Hey, real quick on that. I would do anything to see Jimmy Butler and the Heat versus Philly in the conference, bro. That is going to be like, if that happens, bro, that is going to be one of the best series in like the last like 5 or 6 years. I'm telling you, because the trash talking is going to be unreal.
Yeah, man.
That is true. That is true. You and especially because Jimmy Butler is going to go off on.
Oh yeah, he did.
Last comment about the basketball, because we got to move on to actual wrestling now, y'all. Frantic World says the LA Lakers must have been listening to Started from the Bottom. Now we're here. Yes, yes, indeed. Well, we got to shout out everyone who's supporting us for the Tru Heel roll call. Our top 3 conversation starters on our Tru Heels group page. You got number 3, Stewie Palmer, number 2, Alan Weinstein, and number 1, the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson. Our Patreon backers, so much. Thank you. $3 a month, patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. You got Vala B, Alan Weinstein, Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Kris, Austin K, You My Boy Blue, Robert, Steve, Antoine, 5th Generation Carney, Ladarius, John, aka WrestleScopes, Dan, Kobe, Queen Monet, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Beat Boop, Marcus, Justin, Jennifer Jackson, and Alan Banky. Thank you so much for supporting us at Patreon. But let's get into what we missed from this past week. And what we missed, of course, we got to start off with WWE Backlash in front of one of the hottest crowds in WWE history in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And this was a show that was all about Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny defeating Damian Priest in an excellent San Juan street fight that featured the returns of Carlito Caribbean Cool, Puerto Rico's own Savio Vega, and like I said, Bunny getting the win with the Bunny Destroyer. The whole celebration, the entrance, one of the all-time great entrances, felt like we were at a Bad Bunny concert with the San Juan crowd going crazy. You also had a crazy response to the opener on this show as Bianca Belair defeated Io Sky in a terrific match to retain the Raw Women's Championship. Definitely a great performance, and the Puerto Rican crowd embraced Io Sky as an honorary Puerto Rican. You also had Rhea Ripley beat Zelina Vega, and Zelina looked great to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Seth Rollins defeated Omos in the Nigerian Giants. Best match to date.
The GOAT.
You also had the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and the Usos beat Matt Riddle, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, despite dissension between Solo and the rest of the Bloodline in this one.
Stop dragging this shit, please.
We'll get to that. Let
it play out, Andrew. Let it play out.
Let it play out. And then finally, I know the thing that our brother Nate's going to want to talk about the most. Cody Devontae Rose getting the win over a bloody Brock Lesnar, reversing the Kimura into a pinning combination in a very good, very intense main event with some intentional blood. But Cody had to dip up out of here. He looked like someone who just robbed somebody. He robbed the beast and got the hell up out of San Juan before Brock could respond. What did you think about this matchup with Brock Lesnar, brother Nate? And what did you think about the post-match with Cody running away? Your brother, Cody Devontae Rose.
First of all, this show was great. You know, I think it's going to be one of these shows we talk about at the end of the year in terms of the WWE's best productions, in large part due to the crowd. Because I don't think this show feels the same anywhere else except for maybe Brooklyn. Like maybe Brooklyn, if you give Puerto Ricans first dibs on the tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like if you bring it to the borough, you know what I'm saying? I think you can maybe replicate that, but that atmosphere was amazing. And so when you talk about this main event, first of all, I don't think it should have been the main event. I think you should have closed with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest just to, give that atmosphere. I thought Devontae and Brock, first of all, glad Cody got the win. He had to do it for Kofi and all the brothers that came before him that had to lay at the feet of this beast known as Brock Lesnar. So we respect that man, Cody, for avenging the ancestors in San Juan. But, last time I was on the show, SP3, we talked about, the day after WrestleMania Night 2, what we thought about Cody losing and now having to go through this adversity storyline and this and that. And at the time, I was kind of like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. Now I'm kind of feeling like Nick Fury at the end of Avengers. When the count, you remember Avengers? Sid, I know you be watching these Marvel movies. When the council wants to send a nuclear missile to New York City, and they're like, Director Fury, the council's made a decision. I'm sitting here looking at Triple H and Vince McMahon's booking decision, like I respect, I acknowledge the decision of the council, but given that it's a stupid ass decision, I choose to ignore it. I elect to ignore it, Sid, because I think, just as a match, it was fine. Like it was a decent match. I think the finish could have been a little bit more dramatic. It kind of felt a little anticlimactic, and it kind of felt like Cody, as you said, got away with one, which is not how you want this character to feel at this point. But the other thing is, I feel like with the world title tournament and all of this other stuff, it feels like they're trying to reverse engineer a WrestleMania moment, Sid, when we just had a damn WrestleMania moment a month or so ago, and you could have did it there. And I know we talked about the reasons why they might have decided not to do it, but it feels like you're trying too hard to make this guy climb this mountain. And so while the match itself, I think, was good, Andrew, I'm not sure how plugged in I am to this Cody story, which is something coming from me, coming from somebody that supports this man, Cody Devontae Rhodes. Like, I'm along for the ride, but I'm not as engaged as I was during the Roman story.
I totally understand that. Andrew, what did you think about the whole Cody and Backlash overall?
Bro, like, so with Cody, there could have been a way to completely justify this as the main, and it's not like it's like some egregious decision or nothing. Like, let's not be dramatic. You know, I don't want to be dramatic when I say that, but in a way that this could have been justified as a main event, you know, if Cody was the world champion right now, that, you know, I think that kind of been that would have made it more like, you know, because if he'd have won the title at WrestleMania, but you know, here we are, and like Nate had said just before I go back to Backlash, it does feel like they're trying to recreate that sort of, I guess, same atmosphere or hope to get to that at some point, and I really feel like they missed the boat with, like, you know, having the opportunity to have that big moment. Like, and if it does happen, I'm just going to just assume it's going to happen at SummerSlam, right? I don't think it's going to be something where people not going to, people they going to go crazy for it, but I don't think it'll be that same type of atmosphere and reaction and build up that they had at night two at WrestleMania. Like, you just can't recreate stuff like that. It happens once, and you got to hit it where you hit it. But as far as Backlash goes, like, I think this is one of probably might be WWE's best crowd of the year. We got to depend to see how this London show turns out for Money in the Bank, but Puerto Rico, they showed out for both nights, man. Both nights for Friday Night Smackdown and the Backlash pay-per-view. The Bad Bunny Damian Priest match most definitely should have headlined the show. Bad Bunny, for this dude to be taking pro wrestling as serious as he does, like, to be on, like, the caliber of celebrity he is, it's considered, like, even seeing him, I remember he was on the I think it was the Shop podcast or the Shop show or with LeBron and them, and he was talking like, you're not like, when not all celebrities, but most celebrities who get involved in wrestling, they kind of speak about it in like this like undertone, like, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like they speak about it in a weird way, like try to like they undermine it, but not like but not in a way to where it could blow back on them. Like, it's just certain verbiage that they use.
Like, I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. that type of verbiage, right, bro? Bad Bunny, he doesn't speak about wrestling like that. This, like, he goes on, like, in public and be like, bro, this is what I want to do, like, my whole life. He was like if music wasn't an option, like, this is, you know what I'm saying, like, this is like my main thing. He go out there and he wrestle like dude worth like millions and millions and millions of dollars, bro. And he go out there and he be, you know, doing all this type of crazy stuff, doing Canadian destroyers, getting slam through tables off of structures. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, he out here, bro. Bad Money.
And
like,
then he was up at Staples with Kendall last night.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Denver and 6, but you know. So going back to but we're just looking at the card right now. Like, the Bianca and Io match, I think that was definitely one of WWE's best performances from the women. That was one of the best performances in the women's division this year from WWE standpoint. I feel like they went out there and they put in, especially like when you have a crowd, bro, that can, like, that is like that, it automatically takes that match to another level. instantly.
Mhm.
Like, so I think that Bianca did a great job and Io did a great job. And like, I see a lot of people, they think that the crowd might start turning on Bianca. I don't see that, bro. I
Nah.
don't know why. I don't see them turning on Bianca. I think that she like pure, just white meat baby face, bro. Like, people like Bianca because they saw her uprise. So you go ahead and say it.
We do need to start the conversation of, has Bianca Belair had a legitimately good feud since Becky Lynch? Because that's where I'm at now. Where it was a little too one-sided for Bayley to be considered that.
Mm-hmm.
The spooky shit with Alexa didn't work.
That was bad.
The Asuka feud was not good until we got to the match. And this is not saying that anything. This is not anything that Bianca Belair is doing.
No.
This is all Triple H is doing.
Well, and I would even go further, SP3. I would say, you asked the question, has she had a good feud since Becky Lynch? I would argue that might be the only good feud she's had. She's had a ton of good to great matches, like the Sasha Banks match, great. The Bayley match, really good. The Io Sky match from Backlash, good. The match at WrestleMania with Asuka, good. Like, she's had a ton of good to great matches, but in terms of the story that they've given for this woman, they've been lacking. And even the Becky Lynch story started off kind of sus.
Exactly.
That's the WWE formula right there when it comes to these big time matches in the women's division. They be like, the match gonna be good anyway. Fuck the build that. Like
let Chat GPT write this script.
Bro, I'm telling you that's how it is. Like, when you look back at some of like the big time feuds over the past like three or so years, like, that's how like the build is not good, but like, that they're gonna go out there and deliver. It was the same, like how Nate just mentioned, the same thing with Sasha/Mercedes and Bianca, same thing with Becky and Bianca. Like, I mean, it had its like, its ups and downs in terms of like when you on a scale of good to bad story. Like, same thing with the Bayley, like Bayley and Bianca, like how Nate just mentioned. This I don't know what it is about that, but like I think that they feel that they can sort of, bypass it, or sort of like people will forget about it, or they could get away with it because, the matches are going to be good. It's the same thing with Charlotte and Rhea. They went out there and had a banger, bro, at WrestleMania. They
with no story.
Killed it, bro. Killed it. And like, I feel like that's sort of the internal mindset. Like, when they fall short on these things, it's like, they going to go out there and kill it anyway. But people remember the build up to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. We'll talk about the latest feud or re-feud Bianca had that started on SmackDown last night, but there is some news coming out of Backlash, of course, with Bad Bunny's huge performance. Like brother Andrew was just talking about stealing the show at Backlash. A lot of people were talking about the return of Carlito Caribbean Cool, and a new report has details on the reaction backstage in WWE to Carlito's return at WWE Backlash. I absolutely loved it as a longtime fan. The WWE alumnus made his return at Saturday's pay-per-view during the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match, and according to Fightful Select, people in the company were very happy with Carlito's return, noting that the crowd response was even better than expected. Several people backstage noted that Carlito had matured a lot since his time in WWE, and the site reports that there have been several pitches over the last couple of years to bring him back in, including some pitches for a full-time run. As of now, his appearance was designed to be a one-off, but that can always change. And the site also shot down a report that Brian Kendrick helped Jamie Noble produce the Bunny versus Priest matchup. He was neither listed internally as a producer, nor did he work on the match. That said, Kendrick did help Damian Priest train Bad Bunny for the show, and WWE higher-ups were said to be extremely pleased with how the match turned out, and noted that the match paid for itself in publicity. In an interview with Hitting the Turnbuckle, Brian Kendrick confirmed that WWE brought him in to train Bad Bunny for his match at WWE Backlash. He said, and I quote, "It was for the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. The company brought me in, but it was because a few years back when they had their tag team matchup, I worked with them. I think because of the comfort level we had built with Bunny and I, they requested me to come back for that." He also compared Bunny to Logan Paul, and he added that that, yeah, I haven't met Logan, but I think both of them are very motivated. They want to be good at this. I know Bunny is doing a lot of training, and he was training for months. I thought the match was awesome. And talking about the future of Bad Bunny in WWE, in an interview with the Unscripted podcast, Savio Vega said that there are talks of having Bad Bunny wrestle a match at this year's SummerSlam. Vega said this kid has 2 full matches, one at WrestleMania and the singles match against Damian Priest. He's a natural. You know, they take him step by step all the way to the end, but he has the mentality. He has the power. He's hungry for that. He loves it. He wants to make it good. He has it. And I hear they're maybe talking about SummerSlam for him. I don't know. They know what they're doing, but Bad Bunny hit the ball out of the park. Brother Nate, I wanted to ask you, what do you think first about the Carlito return? And do you think he may have a future with WWE? Because this guy is completely jacked. He looked like he ate Carlito from 2005.
Here's the thing, man. You know, to steal a phrase from that good brother Steve Borden, the only thing for sure is nothing's for sure, SP3. I feel like with the reaction that Carlito got at Backlash, like if there were any inklings of, you know, maybe we should bring this guy back in for a cup of coffee or bring him back in for a limited run, I think that just makes that possibility more probable. It just depends on how they bring him in, because as I mentioned earlier, SP3, like this was a very specific case. This was a very specific crowd.
Yeah.
Carlito ain't gonna get that kind of reaction in Des Moines, Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Carlito ain't gonna get that kind of reaction in Peoria, Illinois. You know, sorry to the Midwest. But I think if you have a good story for Carlito, I would, you know, take a shot on him, because like I felt like they kind of cut the legs out from underneath him during his last run, and maybe some of that was on him because of immaturity. But at the same time, we've seen other people be immature and get to flourish. You know, shout out to that man Randy Orton. Just saying. But I think that, you know, with Carlito, like this was a big moment for him. And again, like Savio Vega, man. Ain't nobody thought about Savio Vega in like 5, 10, 15 years. And this brother came out there, and you would have thought Terrence from Florida walked down the aisle with the reaction that they gave this man. So I love when WWE remembers that their performers have cultural connections. And so, like, I want to see more shows outside of the U.S. You know, we talked about, you know, that great man, Omos, earlier, who's just been putting out 4-star bangers lately here, Sid. I would love to see a show in Nigeria.
We're going too far. We're going 4 stars.
Hey, I'm just saying what I saw, Andrew. What I saw from this man, Omos and Seth Rollins, that was a little banger right there, brother.
I guess it's like Dave Meltzer has the Tokyo Dome scale. You have the Omos scale, so a 3-star match is 4 stars.
Hey, almost sapient, stand up.
I wanted to ask you, Andrew, what do you think about Bad Bunny possibly having a match at SummerSlam, and who would you think it would be against?
Okay, so real quick, I just wanted to touch on the Carlito thing. Like, so before they announced what Austin Theory was doing at Backlash, like, because it was like a point there, like, where that dude had like no direction, and I knew Backlash was coming up, so I'm like, what if Carlito came and like answered the open challenge? Like I was thinking about like as an open challenge for the United States title, and I mean like you would assume that he would get a great reaction in Puerto Rico, but like I was definitely not expecting that type of reaction that he got there. Yeah. But like how Nate said, I think it was a matter of circumstance. I do think he'll get good to great reactions, you know, on a weekly touring basis, but when it comes to sustaining that, I don't know how long that's going to last. But as far as a long-term run, I don't think people will be. I think people will be very, very interested in seeing Carlito back. But the whole thing is you got to have a good story, because I feel like at some point he'll just become another dude that's on the roster, and then you'll just have another baddie. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you would necessarily want to bring him in on a full-time basis just for that. You know. I mean, or that, or you could just keep them on like a per appearance thing, like bring them in for the big shows or whatever like that. But as far as Bad Bunny goes, man, like if you gonna have a SummerSlam, or they doing it at the in Detroit, like shit, bring them in. And when I'm thinking about people that you can have a match with, like, I mean, I'm trying to think of like names that would like make sense. Like you would think that maybe it would be something like surrounding or involving the LWO. Maybe I don't know how much longer you can keep that going into August. Like I mean, but when I'm thinking about potential opponents, like maybe we see him against somebody that's outside of the bubble that he's been associated with thus far throughout his time at WWE. Like maybe mix it up with somebody different, get him in there with, you know what I'm saying, just to add a little twist to Bad Bunny's overall run at WWE. I can't think of somebody like off the top right now.
Bad Bunny, Bray Wyatt.
I mean, I'll suggest something. I mean, he you know, Bray loves bunnies, but last night on SmackDown, we had LWO kind of start a feud with the Usos, and they're gonna face the Usos next week. And if you don't want to, you want to save the Roman Cody rematch for WrestleMania 40. Roman Reigns versus Bad Bunny in Detroit for the undisputed Universal Championship.
Wow. Hey, let me say this. I will say this. I thought about that, but like, see the thing is, bro, this Cody thing, bro, like I dragging this out to next April, dog. Next April, bro. Like, are you like who? You know what I'm saying? Like dragging this out all the way there. I just don't think that anybody has like the desire to wait that long to finally see this thing. Like I think this, but if you're talking about just from a WWE standpoint and how they have gone about, you know, just from pattern. You would think that would be a good match. I mean, not a good match, but you would think that would be the match. And I could definitely see that happening. Bad Bunny taking on Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal title. But man, this Cody thing, bro, it's SummerSlam, bro. It got to be that. It has to be that. Wait until next year to do it is, or if the Bad Bunny thing don't happen, that man, if Cody think he gonna get his shot, then that man, Conor McGregor gonna come in and make that call, and it's gonna be him versus Roman, and he gonna destroy the whole thing.
You want to bring it all together with the sale? That's the way to do it.
There you go.
But besides Carlito, to wrap things up with Backlash, you also had the return of Savio Vega, and he revealed how his WWE Backlash return came to be in an interview with the 10 Count Wrestling with Steve Fall. He said, yeah, about 2 months ago, you know, this is masterminded by Damian Priest. And of course, Bad Bunny, they are big fans of myself when they were growing up. They're watching TNT, you know, so they just hook with the local wrestling. So Damian Priest in Dallas, when they did I believe it was the farewell of Undertaker, that was the first time that I saw him there. He meet me, I talked to him a little bit, and you know, we exchanged numbers. Since then, you know, once in a while we talked, hello, how you doing, blah blah blah, till I got the call from Bruce Preacher. He said Preacher, hey, you want to be part of the pay-per-view going down to Puerto Rico? Of course, why not? And he gave me all the details, contract, doctors, blah blah blah, you know, everything done, and just wait until the date. And on the success of the pay-per-view, he said, man, they left happy because the Puerto Rican fans, they love wrestling, they've been watching wrestling for many years, and here come this pay-per-view with 2 Puerto Ricans on top. I mean, they're not the main event, but they did a performance of a main event matchup. And talking about the success of WWE Backlash, WWE has sent out a press release hyping the success of Backlash, which they say broke multiple company records. It was the most viewed Backlash event ever, as well as the highest grossing. Viewership had a 22% increase from last year, and it also was the largest gate for a WWE event in Puerto Rico. WWE officials were very pleased with the results of Backlash, and according to Fightful Select, higher-ups in the company were quite happy with the reaction in Puerto Rico to the pay-per-view, as well as the financial numbers relating to the show. And the report notes that more specialized and localized events are likely to take place when they make sense. And the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that there were only 6,700 traditional pay-per-view buys. However, it was noted this isn't a bad thing, and it makes sense with the rise in Peacock viewership. It was down 18.3% in pay-per-view buys from last year compared to Elimination Chamber in February. It was down 41%, and the show likely was hurt from other sporting events since it was Cinco de Mayo weekend, like UFC, the Kentucky Derby, Canelo versus Ryder fight, as well as the NBA and NHL playoffs. And Google search interest did 200,000 behind the Derby, Lakers, UFC, Celtics, and Warriors, Canelo. And after WWE's successful WWE Backlash, there was some wanting the show to happen there annually due to the passionate fans. However, that may be complicated more than one would think. And the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that WWE was paid a $1.5 million subsidy by the tourism board, something that was noted back in March. As such, WWE hyped up the beaches and promoted tourism for San Juan, as they've done when paid tourism boards in the past. So highly successful show. We do have a super chat donation that talks about that from the Negro Buck. I agree with SP3 that in the future SummerSlam in Puerto Rico needs to happen. It just makes sense with that type of background. So thank you so much for that super chat donation, Negro Buck. And I know, Brother Nate, you got to run pretty soon here, but I wanted to bring in our next guest as a smooth transition, as we're just going to have a full-on NWA takeover right here. The NWA podcast, one and only Professor is here with us. He's been on Tru Heel Heat so many times. I think he's reaching the top levels of the most guest spots on Tru Heel Heat of all time. It is the Dr. Kris Ely is joining us.
Hey.
And Kris, Lakers all day, baby.
I know, right? I got my LeBron Air Maxes that I'm wearing today. Yeah. This was just an annoying week in basketball. I like the Warriors, and that's what pains me to say this. The only time I don't like a team is when they're playing the Lakers. The Warriors are probably like my second or third favorite team, because I cheer for the Clippers, except when these fools blaming the refs on losing, like, you forget about the horrible shots that Clay was taking, the horrible defense that the whole team was taking. It's the refs' fault that the Warriors lost. Miss me with that bullshit, man. Like, seriously, I got Stephen A. Smith and Charles Barkley and Shaq laughing at my boy AD because the dude thought he had a concussion.
That was disgusting. That was
you motherfuckers are laughing at a concussion? Like, seriously? But yeah, let's. I know Nate's got to go, but yeah, let's talk about this wrestling shit. But yeah,
Brother Nate, before you go, please let the people know where they can follow you on social media. Thank you for joining us. And since we got this new format, I'm going to probably call you up in a few weeks to come back on the show, brother. But let the people know.
You know what my price tag is. You know how you have your people call my people. Hit me with that $1.5 million donation to the Nate birthday fund. We can make it happen, Sid. But nah, it's always good chopping it up with you. Since Andrew and Kris are here, I will promote the NWA podcast first. Next episode comes out next Saturday. So a week from today, Saturday night, we're going to be talking about all the crazy stories from the world of pro wrestling. I'm sure, not only will we talk about what happened in Backlash, not only will we talk about the business side of things, but Kris is going to have to step on these microphones, Sid, and atone. It's nothing wrong with saying that you're wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Kris is going to have to say that he's wrong about this man, the young GOAT, Omos on these streets, putting out bangers. This man he crossed international waters, Kris, and put on a 4-star classic with this man, Seth Rollins.
Okay, Puerto Rico is a part of the United States.
He took the long way around, Kris. He took the long way around. He went to Nigeria first, then he went back to Puerto Rico, Kris. You don't know this man's itinerary.
Right.
but if you enjoyed that little tangent, that's what you get every month on the NWA podcast, the Post Wrestling. So check out the Post Wrestling YouTube channel. Me, Kris, nephew Andrew, we gonna have some fun next week. In addition to that, tomorrow, Mother's Day, spend the daytime showing love to the queens in your life, and then 7 o'clock ish. because it's a black owned and operated show. So time is fluid sometimes. But 7 o'clock ish, come spend time with the Kings, because the Kings of Sport, we are back. We got a new logo. We might have a new theme song, but we got some things in the mix. Kris and I, put our heads together over the past week, and I'm on my stringer bell right now, Sid. Hey, put the word out. The Kings of Sport is back up, everybody. It's been a long time since we put out an episode, but we're back. We're going to talk about the conference finals. We're going to talk about, our thoughts on the NFL draft, that happened last month. And we're going to talk about what's in store for the future of the Kings of Sport podcast. So you can check that out tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We're going to be live on the Kings of Sport YouTube channel. You can check my socials and everything for that. And then finally, I'll promote the Multiverse of Color, which is used to be known as the DCTV Podcast Networks. We talk about comic books and movies and TV shows and pop culture from a Black perspective. The Lituation Room is the show that I'm on with myself, Brittany Monet, Vanessa Shark, and Clement Bryant. We just being black and nerdy all day long. But for everything else, follow me on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK. That's all I got to say. I'm glad that we had a chance to talk this week, Sid. And anytime you need me, man, just call me. But don't call me at SummerSlam if Bad Bunny gets this match for Devontae, because I'm gonna feel some type of way at the way they doing this man Devontae. But hey, y'all have a good show, nephew. Good to see you in that you in that AD, you in that Anthony Davis chair right now. Sid got the LeBron chair, you in the AD chair, and then of course we got this man Austin Reeves, known as Chris Ely, getting ready to hit some big shots, ladies and gentlemen.
He called him Austin Reeves.
That's him.
That's him.
I don't even call him Austin Reeves anymore. That's him.
They call him Hillbilly Kobe. Is that what they're
Hillbilly Kobe?
Hillbilly Mamba. There you go. No, thank you, brother Nate. Take care. Enjoy your day, brother. Peace.
All right, brothers.
Brother Nate.
Yes, and welcome to the show, Professor Kris, getting a bunch of love I see in the chat already from the people. Frantic World saying, "What's up, Kris?" We got Vala B saying, "Hey, Professor Kris." We also got a super chat donation from Pluggo. Thank you so much, Pluggo, for the support and coming through with the super chat donation here. He says, "King James is him.
That's factual.
He's adjacent him. Austin Reeves is him."
Oh, SP3, the slander? The
No,
disrespect to
it's not
LeBron?
slander.
No,
It's not
slander, but the disrespect, bro. Come on, man. You can't do that to LeBron, man. That's the GOAT.
He is using what he learned in Miami when Dwayne Wade gave him the ball and said, "This is your team now." He's doing it now with Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves. He's like, "It's gonna be your team." When I get traded to the Hornets to team up with Bronny, he's like, "It's gonna be your team. Y'all gonna take the mantle. Y'all gonna take the mantle here." And then talking about Cody Rhodes, once again, we got Vala B with the super chat donation. Thank you so much, good brother. Always with the support. He says, "Cody should have been the champ at Mania." And Andrew saying what I said, Cody's angle will never be as hot as it did in Mania. But hey, 1K days, right?
You can't recreate that atmosphere, bro. You can't. It's simple. You can't recreate that. Like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, especially seeing how I know we can probably gonna talk about it, Sid, but like what happened on SmackDown and stuff with the Bloodline and how they drag it. Like I just don't understand why all of this couldn't have happened while Cody is champion, and then you tell the fallout of the Bloodline while Cody is having the world title on Monday night. Like but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get into all that, Sid.
Yeah, for sure. But first, we got brother Kris with us, the doctor, the professor, here to talk some AEW and AEW Dynamite. Had a pay-per-view quality show this week, 877,000 viewers, which against NBA, NHL, and the Donald Trump town hall, that's like getting 1 million nowadays, it seems. After last week, they did under 800,000. And this show, of course, featured the highly anticipated rematch of the latest chapter in one of the greatest rivalries in AEW history, as Jon Moxley defeated Kenny Omega in an insane, bloody, brutal steel cage main event. but thanks in large part to Don Callis betraying Omega by stabbing him in the back and in the face with a literal screwdriver to allow Moxley to get the win, and then giving him the kiss of death afterwards to end the show. You also had Claudio Castagnoli beat Rey Fenix in an awesome double Jeopardy opener to give the BCC a guaranteed shot at the ROH World Tag Team titles. We saw 4 separate promo vignettes on the 4 pillars ahead of AEW Double or Nothing and the main event, as we had MJF featured talking about all his accomplishments, Sammy Guevara once again being portrayed as a babyface for some stupid reason, Darby Allin talking about all his insane stunts and wanted to be the AEW World Champion, as well as Jungle Boy talking about his journey to the main event of Double or Nothing. You had House of Black win the very first open house matchup against Bandito and Best Friends, the Best Amigos, to retain the AEW World Trios Championships. Speaking of House of Black, Julia Hart beat Anna Jay in a no-holds-barred match. You also had Daniel Garcia get his shot at the AEW International Championship, being victim number 21 against Orange Cassidy in a great matchup as he retained the International Championship once again. And we also got the returns of Miro and Thunder Rosa backstage, going to speak to Poppy Khan, as Thunder Rosa named him, before Tony Khan said that there would be a huge announcement next Wednesday, which we'll get into in a bit here. But first, Professor Kris, what did you think about this week's Dynamite, and of course the big moment in the main event with Don Callis betraying Kenny Omega?
I thought it was a great episode of Dynamite. I didn't think it was like a top 5 episode yet, because it does still seem to me like they are just kind of doing a lot of placeholder stuff before TK makes another big announcement. This announcement was so big that he had to make an announcement on TV to announce that he was going to make another announcement. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to him announcing the making of the new show. But yeah, it was the Don Callis stuff. I personally thought it was anticlimactic, but in situations like this, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters how fans react to it. And for some reason, these fans thought it was the greatest thing on the planet. So, and I'm not here to tell anybody you're stupid for being surprised at this heel turn, even though
I think they built to it well. They just
Yeah,
no one's expected it to happen this week.
Yeah,
I thought it was happening. You could check my Twitter. The
man said I got the receipts. He said I got the receipts.
I thought this was happening. But look, man. Again, it's not about me. It's about building because I'm an analyst, right? So I'm supposed to watch these things with a critical eye. If you're watching this with a fan's eye, then and you saw that and you liked it, I think that's a good thing. But yeah, I do think AEW is running on all cylinders at the moment, and I enjoyed the Sammy Guevara promo that you mentioned, Sid. Yeah, I don't understand that either. I think you got to keep that guy a heel until he becomes good as a heel and fans naturally turn to him, because they did the face run with him once and he managed to turn his wife into a heel, So it's like he's not there yet. He doesn't have that kind of charisma, because that's what happens in fiction, right? Some bad guys are so bad, or they've been the bad guy for so long that fans naturally start like cheering them, or when they turn good, it's still special, like a Darth Vader or something like that. But Sammy just ain't there.
I'm about to say, and even on the All Access show, like Sammy's kind of presented in that like baby face light, like they that's how he's featured on that show. So I think that's kind of the route that they're trying to take with that. But like how Kris said, I think you have to let that happen naturally. Like you can't be like, hey, you need to like this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I think you need to kind of let that happen.
It's the fact that just like last week, he was with the top villain. He was with MJF. He was associated with MJF. You can't turn around the next week and try to present him as this good guy that people should aspire to be like. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And they need to change the name of All Access to Limited Access, because they keep talking around the CM Punk stuff on that show. It got so annoying a couple of weeks ago. Like, I'm watching this stuff and like just pretending that we didn't see this dude eat a bunch of muffins and breakfast pastries, go ham at a press conference, and just talking around the issue. It got annoying. I had to just sneak that in.
I think the closest that anyone involved in that situation like has spoken about it in any type of capacity beyond the general, like the general sense of what happened and not diving into too many details was Kenny Omega when he was on Renee's podcast. But that was like the closest thing that we have gotten so far. Like, and Kenny was he spoke as if he was as candid as he could be without crossing a certain line and just diving straight into it, breakdown for breakdown. Like, honestly, bro, like I would like for Tony to like speak about it at some point, and like even I had saw like an article that was floating around yesterday about like how he got asked about like what he learned from it, and like he did the whole no comment type of route. I'm like, and I know when that happened, I know there was a talk of like legal reasons as to why like that couldn't be spoken about. I'm like, but when I'm looking at it just from a general sense, but I'm like, bro, they got in a fight, bro. You know what I'm saying? They fought. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Like they fought, bro, and that's what happens. And people fight, and everybody that you work with, you're not gonna like everybody you work with. That's just life, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens.
Yeah.
But like when you get to a point like where you're like, we're almost a full year away from this, like for almost like we're like 4 or 5 months away from this being like a 4 year since this all happened. I'm like, at some point, like you would at least want to just get the story out there and at least try to, from AEW standpoint, try to set the narrative straight, because if you don't set a story, then people are just going to formulate their own stories and they're going to make up their own opinions and or their own thoughts about what exactly happened in that situation. So like, just come out and just address it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's long enough to where like the sort of, well, I ain't gonna say the tension of it has died down, but more so like we've had enough time, enough like little bit of grace period to where you can, I think, openly speak about this to a certain degree, maybe without diving into like the exact specifics, but just giving us a piece of what occurred and how you have been able to learn from that as a company owner. You know what I'm saying? At some point, you would think that was going to happen, especially considering from all reports and stuff like that CM Punk is on his way back. So.
It's like you got to figure out in the past 8 months how to address it in a way that you're not giving anything too much away or not crossing the line in any type of way. They gotta figure it out. But speaking of which, we should bring up the person who is in the headlines as much as anybody, CM Punk, as we have another edition of the Punk and the Restless. On Wednesday, Fightful Select had a new update with more details on the rumored new primetime AEW program Collision, which is expected to be announced soon, along with the major return match in the works for CM Punk. It was previously reported that the new show will be announced at the upcoming Warner Brothers Discovery Upfronts on May 17th, next Wednesday. And according to the new update, CM Punk is said to be pushing a huge match to happen early for his AEW return. There are reportedly major plans for a marquee tentative set for Collision. A CM Punk versus Chris Jericho program has reportedly been discussed, but Fightful Select notes that Punk has pushed for another return opponent for his first match back. It was reported by Fightful Select last month that Punk and Jericho had a recent meeting to resolve their issues, and it was said to be productive. With regards to the programming changes, Fightful Select also reports that after the Collision debuts, Rampage will look more like what the now defunct WWE Sunday Night Heat show used to be. Indie talent will now get opportunities instead on RoH now that Dark and Dark Elevation are gone. Additionally, AEW programming will be hosted exclusively by Warner Brothers Discovery platforms, which will not include Ring of Honor. This lines up with an earlier report from Andrew Zarian of the Matman podcast. However, Fightful's report also notes that they have not yet heard about a brand new TV deal being reached for AEW's programming yet. Sources close to the situation state that AEW Collision is going to air in primetime for Warner Brothers Discovery and will be part of what's described as a new cash influx or infusion for the promotion, along with an extension to their existing partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery. Sources within WBD reportedly had nothing but glowing things to say about the ongoing relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery and AEW, and ahead of the expected announcement at the WBD upfront presentation. While there have been rumors within both WBD and AEW regarding the new programming deal being valued at $1 billion over a few years, the actual dollar figure has not been confirmed by AEW or WBD sources. Warner Brothers Discovery sources informed Fightful that the upcoming announcement was for Collision rather than an all-encompassing programming deal that also includes Dynamite, and those same sources did not confirm the value of the deal. Also, Fightful notes that reps from both WWE and Warner Brothers Discovery shot down rumors of alleged talks between the two media entities and claimed that they hadn't heard about that at all. Then on Friday, we had even bigger news because the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that Collision was always going to happen with or without Punk. However, it was also noted that Warner Brothers Discovery wanted Punk for the series when the deal was negotiated. And speaking of Punk, with his pushing of a new marquee feud that is not Chris Jericho, Punk has reportedly been pushing for a different return opponent, and Fightful Select now has an update on who Punk was pushing to face, and according to their report, it is none other than his old rival, Samoa Joe. While the Jericho versus Punk program was reportedly pitched, and the two wrestlers are said to have had a productive meeting recently in Florida, Punk has instead been pitching Joe as his return opponent for the better part of a month. Joe has not appeared on AEW programming since losing the TNT Championship to Wardlow at Revolution in early March. He is currently appearing on Ring of Honor with the RoH Television Championship, which he has held since last April. Joe and Punk, of course, had an epic rivalry in Ring of Honor. The last time they were in the ring against each other was a four-way elimination match at RoH Redemption in August 2005. Jamie Noble, aka James Gibson, won the championship in that said matchup. And the last time Punk and Joe faced each other one-on-one was in March 2005. They famously wrestled each other in two 60-minute time limit draws in Ring of Honor, and Joe also has 2 pinfall victories over Punk. And Fightful's report notes that it's unknown whether Punk's pitch was for a one-off match or an extended program. It also hasn't been confirmed if the match will actually happen. And then according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the first episode of the new series AEW Collision in the United Center in Chicago will be dubbed The Second Coming. Yes, the return of CM Punk is going to be called The Second Coming, playing off, of course, the first dance at the United Center. In regards to the internal issues for CM Punk, Wrestling Observer newsletter also reported that there's been no movement on resolving issues between certain people in AEW. The biggest issue, of course, involves CM Punk and the Elite following the brawl out at AEW All Out last year, but they are said to be several different legal issues that are still ongoing, and no one is allowed to talk about it publicly or contact the other side. Although while there aren't closer to resolving the matter, things are said to be more reasonable now, and at least one person involved is willing to apologize. It's unknown if that is Punk, as it's unclear what he's willing to do, and one source noted that they think there should be apologies, and while Punk should be first, he shouldn't be the only one. Now, Professor Kris, we got into a heated debate the last time we had you about all of this.
It was so heated that you had to change the format of the show. Because how long did we go? That's what it was like.
Well, I think we went nearly an hour. We went nearly an hour on this one topic.
Yeah. It feels like I'm still in that episode of the show, but this is just us talking about it further. But this is getting silly at this point. I'm not even sure if this is worthy of a long conversation. Yeah, they're gonna work together now. I mean, this is like, everybody knows what this is now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if when you're my age and in the dating scene, like, I'm not in the dating scene anymore. I'm about to get married, but
yeah, Kris.
You don't have to.
Yeah, Kris.
You don't have to talk a woman that's about that life into getting her into the bedroom. It's just y'all are both grown, and you know what this shit is.
You know what time it is.
Yeah, and I think they know they can play these games all they fucking want, but this is stupid. I don't care what the Wrestling Observer says. I don't care what Wade Keller says. Know both of them, like both of them. I don't care what SRS says. I just don't, because they're gonna. You made it this far. What are we doing at this point? You know what I'm saying?
It's like you got all your clothes off. You might as well put on the condom and get busy.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing here?
Like,
what are we doing here?
Yeah, or just be like, look, you leave. Go ahead, man.
I was about to say real quick, I am thoroughly enjoying, like, especially coming off of this past week's Dynamite, I'm thoroughly enjoying, like, what I'm assuming is the slow rollout of this AEW Collision roster. First we see Miro, then we see Thunder Rosa back. I don't even know if Thunder Rosa is good to go, but like I still like the tease of her, going to Tony Khan's. And assuming that I like I said, I saw people was assuming that Andrade is going to be a part of this roster. It's going to be like all the rebels,
all
like
the problematic
all the problematic people on the same roster. No, but you want to know what? But when you really look at that is going to be a great roster. Like when you think about like the talent level of people that's going to be on that show, that is good. But see, the thing is, like when I'm looking at the Elite and stuff like that and what's going on with them and even Hangman, dude, like when you Tony Khan, like I would honestly try everything I could do to get everybody back on at least the same page, because you got this new this new assumed show coming out of the Porter show, because that hasn't been officially announced yet, but everybody it all signs are pointing to this show being announced. But like you got this new show coming, and you would want all firepower that you can get. Everybody on all hands on deck type of thing for this show. And what better way that you could do that than have CM Punk, have the Elite, you have all your top guys under under the same roof going and building this new show. But unfortunately, due to them getting a little squabble, people don't like other people, a little scrap, people don't like other people. But like when you mentioned that report from the Observer about there's one person on the other side opposite of Punk who is willing to apologize, I think that's Kenny Omega, and I think about that.
I even said that last time with Kris. I was like, Kenny Omega, I will stand by this. I've been on this since like October of last year. He's the one that didn't do anything. He didn't do it. Yeah. He literally came into the room after the fight already started. From all that he's saying.
And then I was about to say, even like bringing up the Renee podcast again, even saying what he was saying on that, he was just like, Kenny said that he played hockey for a while when he was before pro wrestling. He was like real into, like, got into fights with his teammates. Like he was talking about that stuff. Like he got into different fights with his teammates, and you know what I'm saying? They'd be upset or beefing with each other for a couple of days, but they'd get over it. And like I don't think that he brought that up for just no reason, just to I think that he was saying that in reference to like, look, You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're going to get into it. We're going to have our squabbles back and forth. But at the end of the day, I can put it to the side and just say, hey, that was a miscommunication, and you know, we can move forward. I can see Kenny get it, but see, even seeing the Bucks talking about it in the show, bro, they like even when they would reference it on the All Access show, they was like the worst moment of their lives, and it was a career black mark for them, and like how it makes them emotional and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they heard off this one. You know what I'm saying? But like, but it just seems like just from here, like just basing it off what I heard in that Renee interview that Kenny did, it seems like he's kind of the type where like, look, sometimes we just gonna fight, and I'm not gonna like you, and you ain't gonna like me, but that don't mean that we can't work together. You know what I'm saying? And with Punk, I mean, when it comes to him and you know, building this show around him, I mean, you know, Punk is Punk, bro, and I mean that from a star standpoint. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to see a Punk on your roster, regardless. I think especially at this point, and I just know that this collision show, this debut show in Chicago, that thing is gonna sell out like hotcakes. You know what I'm saying? Like that thing about to be crazy whenever they formally announce that. And I'm just like, you always gonna want a guy like CM Punk on your roster, despite, you know, what may come with CM Punk, as we all know. But I mean, like, and I'm even looking at the Chris Jericho thing. I can't see Punk giving Chris Jericho the satisfaction of having some material for his podcast or having some material for his next book, being like how I help bring Punk back to AEW.
Yeah.
I just can't see him giving the satisfaction of doing that. I don't know exactly what CM Punk versus Samoa Joe in 2023 does for me, but I'm definitely not gonna be mad at it, and I think that Joe definitely gonna like CM Punk on the mic real quick for one good time.
Yo, I mean, that's what I want to see more than the match. I want to see these two guys.
The mic work, yeah.
Joe and Punk are two best mic workers, and Joe versus Punk is the match that made me get into independent wrestling. Made me get into Ring of Honor back when I was 16 years old in high school, and I was kind of disenfranchised with the whole WWE scene because it was Triple H mania at that point. I needed something to be an outlet for me, and I found Punk versus Joe 1 on a computer one day, and that changed my life as a wrestling fan. So to get it back now, and Punk, you know, the second coming and all this stuff, what do you think about kind of the wording of that? I've seen some people kind of be split down the middle, say it's a little too much, but if we're getting the straight as Jesus, it should be the second coming. What do you think?
I don't care about that, you know, the second coming, whatever. I'm not religious. I've seen people that's blasphemous. You're watching wrestling in 2026. It is what it
exactly. What are we doing?
Yeah. I love Punk and Joe because I do think that AEW they haven't buried Joe, but I do think they've defined him down from what he was the last time he wrestled in WWE, and I think they kind of have to.
I don't think you remember that WWE.
I do remember the WWE. I'm not talking about when he was with the poncho in the raid.
That's the last time he was in WWE.
No, that was those. Pay attention to the words I say. I said the last time he wrestled. I didn't say when he was with the poncho and stuff like that. I think like when he
wrestled, he was having 30-second matches with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, but he lost the U.S. title.
He had a quick little run at NXT when he had the belt and he dropped it. I think he dropped it.
He had a lukewarm match with Karrion Kross.
He beat Kross for the time. Yeah.
Okay. So, but I don't think they I just. This is my thing with AEW. I think they try to reach for the stars too much. MJF is good. Nobody knows who MJF is at the moment. And I think you do need to use people like Joe and Punk to kind of put some infusion into the rest of the roster. Like if you're having matches with Joe and Punk, to me, are like Seth and LeBron. You know, they're older, but you could count on them to deliver in the ring. And I think that MJF I think the ratings are where they're at in AEW for a reason. I also think AEW is probably the least dysfunctional brand that Warner Brothers Discovery has at the moment. Like the CNN stuff, they did the Trump. That was supposed to be a ratings ploy. It did good, but it didn't do the 6-7 million viewers they thought it was going to do. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you could call that a flop. They're beefing with all of their actors. The Rock doesn't like them right now. They can't figure out what they want to do with Henry Cavill. They've got all kinds of issues, and AEW right now is the one constant in that family that like stays good and stuff like that, where you Tony Khan, you trust him to rein these cats in.
Do you think that the $1 billion rumor that's been going around I will bring up my notes here on it, because it kind of, the Wrestling Observer kind of talked about it, and it's been kind of brought up. PW Insider talked about how AEW
WrestleNomics, we talked about it.
Yeah, they're expected to have their announcement at the Warner Upfronts, and Dave Meltzer noted that AEW has signed a new TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, similar to the situation from 2020. And that year they announced a deal that extended them. That's when they got basically $175 million for like 3-4 years, which even when I talked to Brandon Thurston on In the Weeds on Fightful Overbook, I mentioned it last week, he said that basically they are undervalued for what they can contribute to Warner Brothers Discovery. And according to Meltzer, the new deal will keep AEW exclusive, but it was rumored on their message board by someone that basically they are going to get this $1 billion deal over 5 years, so basically $200 million a year. And I think Dave was trying to make sense of it. I know Brandon Thurston over at WrestleNomics kind of was making sense of it as well. What do you think about that rumor, Professor Chris?
Oh, I think it's true, and I'll tell you why. Because if you've been paying attention to the news, if you look at there were crazy protests going on at CNN when Trump did that town hall. There were protests at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank. I know because I drove through those motherfuckers. They were all in the street, just like the Writers Guild. That was going on. They were the studio they were specifically protesting was Warner Brothers. I think AEW right now, I think they are in the best position they could be in as possible with Warner Brothers Discovery right now. They've got good ratings. They've got good talent. You can use Punk, Joe, some of the veterans to kind of bring up the other talent that you're just kind of confused on and you really haven't found a way on. And this isn't to say someone like an MJF isn't good at his job or a Ricky Starks isn't good at their job. They just don't have a clear direction. Like, there's only so many asshole promos you could cut if you're MJF. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when do you run out of controversial things to say? It's like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, I think the thing right now with MJF is, especially with this current Pillars feud, I just think that this has really shown the sort of weaknesses in some of the other guys. Like, I feel like Darby has shown up, and I feel like Jungle Boy and Sammy have. I don't want to say they haven't shown up, but they're not as strong on the mic as the other two. Like, I feel like Darby has that. Like, the Darby can make people believe in him, and the MJF is great on the mic. But I think that a lot of since MJF is the world champion, I think that a lot of the blame for this whole thing sort of being really kind of lukewarm sort of gets placed on him, because he's out of them four, he's the standard. Out of those four, he's the standard in terms of like what going on the mic. So I think that a lot of that gets put on him to carry this. And I think that he has done his job in carrying. Like, I remember that segment from a couple of weeks ago when Sammy, Darby, and Jungle Boy were in the ring, dude, and that shit was garbage. Like it was getting bad. And then when MJF came out, I remember I looked on Twitter and everybody was just like, "Thank God!" Like he came to say that.
He's being asked to carry guys who might not just be ready.
They're not ready, bro.
He is ready for that spot, but I understand where people is kind of being more critical of MJF and but MJF is a main event star. It just
and this isn't a knock on MJF. This is more so. I just don't know if he's at that level of his career where his name is gonna
be able to carry it.
I just don't, and I don't think it's fair to ask him to do that yet. Like if you get a Samoa Joe, if you get a CM Punk, if you get these guys, other guys up there, like if they sign Goldberg, you know what I'm saying? I don't like Goldberg in 2023, but I mean, he's a free market, a free agent that's out there, and you probably do need these veterans to kind of bring other people up. I mean, that was the idea of making Jericho the first champion there, right? Yeah. Jericho had the name value, and nobody else on the roster really did.
And to y'all points earlier about like the upfronts and like the TV rights deals, like how piggybacking on what Kris said, you kind of need, you do need people like that to present to those who are in the suit, so to speak. Because you're gonna need your big name value guys. You're gonna need your CM Punks, your Chris Jerichos, your Stings of the sort.
It's basically what TNA did. TNA had Sting, they had Kurt Angle, they had all these stars. It's just Tony Khan has to play a very careful game of not putting too much focus on those younger stars like TNA did.
Yeah, there's a balance you can get out of it, right? Because you do need MJF and Darby and all those people to kind of be crossover names. It's a weaning off process, right? It's a process where you're trying to build up your roster while using the guys that are on top. WWE does this all the time, This is just something that they've done, They use the veteran talent there to kind of establish the younger cats on the roster, and I think that AEW I don't think Samoa Joe is being used to his greatest strengths at the moment.
Like with Joe, like honestly though, like I think that Joe had one of the so I feel like when I look at Joe's AEW run, especially when he came in and he had that I know he had to go away for a little bit because he was filming what's that show that's on Peacock, the I can't remember the name of it right now, but I know
Twisted
he filmed
Metal?
that Twisted Metal. He was filming that, so he was gone. He was like in and out for a while, and then I think that Joe probably had one of the best like stretches of this stage of his career when he was going like back and forth with Darby. Like I think he won the title.
That's why I kind of disagreed with what Kris was saying, because I thought his TNT title run was
that was great, bro,
and felt like the TNT championship was going back to where it was, but they cut it short because they put more of a focus on Wardlow and Hobbs and that type of thing. One thing I wanted to highlight here in the comments, which is a good point by Annika, she says facts. It's kind of hard to get into MJF because no one believes MJF is losing. That's probably one of the things. That's a very good point. That might be the biggest issue with MJF's current run.
Yeah, I think MJF is just kind of, and they're not putting him in there with guys
people that you believe that can beat.
Yeah, they're just not doing that at the moment, and there's nobody on that roster that's like that at the moment, aside from the upper echelon.
They're all in one storyline, which is the Elite and BCC. That's the guys that you would think. But we do have to move on from the CM Punk drama, but we'll talk a little bit more about the Warner Brothers and AEW stuff. Professor Kris, want to thank you so much for joining us. There's another person like Brother Nate will bring in periodically to talk about CM Punk, see if we can get another argument as heated as last time, but let the people know where they can follow you on social media and anything you got going on, good brother.
Yeah, hopefully, I hope we never get into another argument as heated as last time. that shit took up half my goddamn day. But anyway, you could just catch me NWA podcast and read my latest article at WrestleNomics. I'm going to write another one next month, but this article is about the lawsuit. What I like about this article is it took me 16 hours to write it. And I was up all night just looking for receipts for everything I said, man. So, and they're there. And I had more than this, but we edited it down. But just check that out. Yeah, man, just keep it up. Go Lakers. Lakers in 6. I'm with SP3 on this one. 7 is just a little much, and the Nuggets I do take seriously, more seriously than I take the whack ass Grizzlies. I never took them seriously. I always knew we were beating them, and the Kings, I knew the Warriors were beating their whack asses. The Kings and the Clippers are cursed in California. That's it. So just check me out, NWA podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Kris. We will have you back on very soon. And yes, go Lakers. Thank you, brother.
Brother Kris.
Peace. We do have a super chat donation talking about those Los Angeles Lakers. That's like the theme of this episode. Negro Buck saying, yeah, man, Austin Reeves is him. Call him Duggan.
Him Duggan.
I am calling him that. I am calling him that from now on. And we got a great comment here from Renee, who says, first time here, came in for young Drew and the $1 billion AEW deal, staying for the Laker love. Absolutely.
Hey, shout out, man.
You'll always get that.
It's a nice comment right there, man. Look at that. People so nice, man. Look at that. Make it best. It's a good Saturday, man. Y'all so nice, bro.
It's a good Saturday, yo. But a couple of quick AEW notes. WrestleTix had a report on the current ticket sales across the board for AEW. They reported that AEW Double or Nothing is currently at 69% capacity, although ticket sales have been slow this past month. On April 5th, the show sold 6,585 tickets. The latest update reveals that 6,807 have been sold. That means in the past month, Andrew, the show moved 222 tickets, so very low. And there are currently 3,065 tickets left with the current setup. But speaking on a good ticket front, speaking of ticket sales, talking about AEW All In, the Wrestling Observer newsletter has an update on the amount of tickets sold for AEW All In at Wembley Stadium in London. Tickets went on sale last week after several online pre-sales. The number was around 6,000 after that first week, and there are now 65,854 tickets out.
That is crazy, bro.
Yeah, ridiculous. With around 62,000 paid, ticket sales slowed down after the first week, likely due to a lack of announcements about who will be there or what matches will take place. This is already a live gate of $7.9 million with 3.5 months left. And during Thursday's Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer reported that at this time, Will Ospreay is booked to wrestle at AEW All In, and the event happens on, of course, August 27th at Wembley Stadium in London. And while Ospreay is currently booked to appear, it's unknown what match or opponent he will be involved with. Meltzer noted that when it came to UK TV ratings, AEW performed best when Ospreay appeared on the show. Very quickly, Andrew, what do you think about the AEW Double or Nothing kind of lack of sales in the past month? Does that have to do with the matches that they're currently booking, the investment in the 4 pillar story? What do you think overall about the massive tickets sold for AEW All In? And then finally, who do you think Will Ospreay will face at All In?
So just since you last mentioned Will Ospreay, and the night, I think the day before, he's going to be wrestling Shingo at Revolution Pro Wrestling.
Yes, which is huge.
Their 11th year anniversary show. But they running a copper box, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's 7,000 seat setup. But that's
about 7,000, yeah.
But that's bold. That's bold right there, bro. 7,000 seats. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's bold. I think they can do it, especially when you got all these people coming in for All In. I think RevPro could pull that off, especially if you start off the gate with Ospreay versus Shingo. Then I'm pretty sure they got something else cooked up. So like that,
You know, Zack Sabre Jr. gonna be on that show.
You know he gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? And like people love Michael Loku. You know what I'm saying in the UK and stuff like that. I'm pretty. I know Jamie Hayter used to be like a regular in RevPro. She's the resident of like semi consistently. Like one would hope. You know what I'm saying? One would hope maybe she shows up on that. But like going back to the before we circle back to All In, just to touch on Double or Nothing, I think that the Double or Nothing match card, like just the way things are shaping up, you like see like the little rivalries and stuff like that. It's not like that interesting to me, to be honest with you. Like when I'm looking at, especially the top of the card, the Pillars 4-way. Like honestly, bro, I wouldn't have been mad if this Pillars 4-way was like a Dynamite main event, and then we get MJF versus Darby singles match at.
That's kind of what Jimmy has been saying on our AEW Dynamite review.
Okay.
He said that from the very beginning. He thought that the 4-way would be better on TV than the pay-per-view main event.
Yeah. I just how things have gone, and again, I don't think that it's necessarily fair to place all of that blame on MJF, because I mean, asking somebody who is like not he's in the thick of his world title run back, so that asking him to carry the load or be able to bring up two other guys who aren't necessarily the best on the mic, or the crowd doesn't necessarily care for when they speak, and like you know what I'm saying, because I feel like when MJF, when he comes out, everybody's or most people are interested or invested in what he's saying for the most part, even though the sort of the low balls and the digs can like sort of get repetitive. But I feel like MJF has a good sense on how to get people back in. Like he has that sort of thing where he can reel you back in if he really puts like that effort into it. And I think that, like I said earlier, I think Darby has just stepped up. But I think it would have been better and have been more interesting if it would have been an MJF versus Darby singles match at Double or Nothing, and then maybe that'll lead to MJF versus Sting's retirement match. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's been hinted at. I think that would have been like really cool. And I know the only other thing we got is the FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with Mark Briscoe as a special guest referee. That's cool. But like
they need to announce the Elite and BCC. I think that will add some tickets to the show.
You think that's going to be Stadium Stampede?
I think Anarchy in the Arena.
Anarchy Arena. That's what I got through a few. Yeah, it's Anarchy in the Arena. Yeah. Do that.
Answering that final question for me, a couple of comments here. We got Frantic World who says Kenny versus Ospreay 3 at All In. I wouldn't mind that. I think we're gonna get part 2 at Forbidden Door. You could play into that. And that could be Kenny wins again. He's 2-0.
I'm about to say SP3 isn't Ospreay facing Tanahashi at Resurgence in the IWGP US title tournament.
The winner of that versus Archer at Dominion. Okay. And then the winner of that will face Kenny at Forbidden Door.
So it got to be Ospreay, right?
That's in Kenny's country. You have Kenny win there, and then finally Ospreay's like, he puts his career on the line at Wembley Stadium. IWGP US title, career on the line. Kenny Ospreay 3, and Ospreay finally wins.
Hey, SP, do you want to know what that actually makes a lot of sense though? Because Ospreay, like when you look at the sort of the history and the story between the two characters, Ospreay has been like Omega's like really like Lord Brodom. Like a lot of times, and like I feel like that's like the perfect way to show how obsessed Ospreay is with proving himself right against Ken Omega, and like proving himself to Kenny that he's good enough to beat him. Like I like him saying like, hey, if I can't beat Kenny, then there's no point in me. You know what I'm saying? No point in me doing it. And especially, I think that it would be cool him coming off of the match with Shingo, which is him versus Shingo. Like you know that's gonna be heat. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not even a question. But like, I think it would be really cool to follow up on that by wrestling Omega. A part of me is like somewhat worried about Will Ospreay's health. Like, Batty, I'm like, bro,
back to back, Shingo and Omega.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, and Ospreay already banged up, bro. So like him, and see the thing about him is you know he's not gonna shortchange that crowd at Copper Box. You know, he's not gonna just like if they announce him versus Omega at all, like, you know he's not gonna go in there and shortchange these people because he know he got the big match, 65, probably more than 65,000 at Wembley Stadium. You know what I'm saying? But like a part of me is like slightly concerned about that. That's why I think maybe you should probably hold off on Ospreay versus Omega and like just put them in different matches. Maybe have Ospreay do something with United Empire so you can you know what I'm saying, like ease the load a little bit at All In.
He's like, this man is just coming back from injury. We want him for a little bit longer. He's already been on social media saying he don't have that much time.
Yeah, exactly. No, but what you said, SV, that's like a really great idea for him to like put his career on the line and do it, go against Omega. I think that's a great idea. But like on the All In front, bro, when they were even at 35,000 or before they even like went the ticket on sale, the pre-sale thing went on, I was like, bro, for a 3-4 year company to announce a Wembley stadium show, period, and I was just like, bro, if they get 40,000, that's good. That's good for a startup young company like they are. And I'm not giving no excuses, but like I'm just saying, like for a young company, that's really good. But they've like, but this like them selling 65,000, bro. This feels like 2019 AEW, like when they was just selling shit out, like with no matches announced. Like you remember that period of time when AEW was just like they were just selling every fucking thing out.
All out was like 60,000 in the pre-sale line to get tickets, and then it sold out in like a couple of minutes. Or All In, the same thing, and Double or Nothing, the same thing. So
with no matches announced or nothing. I think that's sort of flashbacks to like that old AEW. So they sort of trying to restore the feeling a little bit. And
it's like they're putting together the original AEW feel in 2019 with 2021 when Punk came in, when they just got back in front of live crowds after the pandemic. They're putting it all together, and that's why 2023 is looking already like it's their most successful year.
Hey man, but you see what happened when you signed Jay White. See what happened when you signed Jay White, man.
The catalyst.
You go SP3.
No, I just want to feature a couple more comments answering the question about Ospreay at All In. We got Romeo who says Ospreay versus Pat.
Where's Pat? Where is Pat?
He's waiting until they come to the UK. he's like, I'm over here, y'all. We also got here Mike suggesting they do Omega versus Claudio at Double or Nothing would be epic. I mean, I think that would be a Dynamite match more than Double or Nothing, because Double or Nothing has to be BCC and the Elite. That's what they're building to, the faction warfare between those two sides. So yeah,
I'm gonna say that. Yeah.
But speaking of big shows coming up, we got another big show that was announced this week, Andrew. During the latest AEW Control Centers, Tony Schiavone revealed that the next time AEW has an event in Boston, it will take place at the TD Garden Arena.
Oh boy, here we go.
Which is the company's debut in the venue. Previous AEW...
I was about to say real quick, SP3. They come in here to DC and they run in the Capital One Arena. They haven't run that since the debut.
I know. I was there at the debut. Previous AEW events in Boston took place at Ajanis Arena, which can hold only 7,200. The TD Garden, which is the home of the Boston Celtics, can hold 19,580. Tickets go on sale this coming Friday at 10 a.m. local time. AEW will run an episode of Dynamite there on July 19th. The last time the company held an event in the city, it was at the smaller arena, which had a paid attendance of 3,400, so only half full. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that AEW has been discussing a special match and or debut on the show instead of a normal episode of Dynamite in the past, moving to a larger venue for Cincinnati, Washington, D.C. Baltimore did not draw as well as previous visits. So I'll put you on the spot very quickly here, Andrew. Money, dum, dum, dum. Dum, 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 dum. I'm just saying. If that's not it, then I don't know why you run TD Garden in July.
I think she's showing up, bro. I think it might be the time. Like especially because I mean you got the working relationship with New Japan and stuff. I definitely think she's gonna win that NJPW Strong Women's Championship tournament, and I think that it's gonna be her versus Willow. And the fact they were opposite sides of the bracket, right? I think
in the final.
Mercedes is facing Stephanie Vaquer from CMLL, and then Willow's facing
Momo Kogo.
Momo Kogo.
Stardom.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think that it's gonna be that. It's gonna be Mercedes and Willow in the finals, and then I think that'll be I feel like they'll find a way to sort of like weave something up right there, cook something up, and then that'll like maybe possibly transition into Forbidden Door, maybe like a name call out or something like that, or a mention or something along those lines. More formal than what Britt Baker did leading up to the forum.
Exactly. That's why I'm not gonna get expectations up too high, but this feels more like the site for to do it, because that LA show was already stacked. But Mercedes Moné in Boston, TD Garden Arena, if they could do something similar to what they did with CM Punk for the first dance,
bro. One of the things I like about AEW is like they have this like the sort of format when it comes to like big planned debuts. You know what I'm saying? Like just like, you know, mimicking off the or following the same format as the Punk thing, make it the worst kept secret. But basically, you know, let everybody know if she is indeed showing up on this show. Let everybody know she's coming without actually saying that she's coming. Have your wrestlers do interviews and, you know, big her up and stuff like that. Like people in the company have already done interviews and stuff, like Jamie Hayter and Bray Baker. They've already said that they would love to have her in AEW. Like they've openly said that. So I mean, I know that like there's a lot of like up and down reviews of the AEW's women's division in terms of the booking. Like you know, especially when I'm looking at like a talent like Jade Cargill, for like she's like in a placeholder right now. Like they're kind of, but for me, it always felt like they have been waiting for Kris Statlander for like this whole time. Like they're just waiting for Kris to come back so she could take the title from Jade, and then they could transition Jade to being featured alongside like your Britt Bakers and your Ruby Sohos and your Sarayas and your Sheetas. Like, because I feel like Jade has kind of been like on her own island a little bit, like away from them. And I think that when she drops the title, that's when you'll see her be pushed over to that side of AEW's women's division, and even on the Outcast, the Outcast AEW Originals thing, I honestly, I think that's a real solid feud for the women's division. I would kind of like to see I mean we are getting that, because I was about to say I would like to see more more outside that, but I think there is that in strides, like especially with the Anna Jay and Julia Hart match.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've been doing non-title feuds like Julia Hart and Anna Jay and stuff like that. So they're getting it slowly.
That's actually been like that's actually been like some good promos in that the Anna Jay Julia Hart. Like I gotta give them credit on that. That's actually been
got
good.
A fat ass and a bad attitude. Speaking of the women's division, though, as previously reported, Thunder Rosa made her AEW return on this week's Dynamite. According to Dave Meltzer on Thursday's Wrestling Observer Radio, Thunder Rosa is not 100% just yet. He says her Rosa's back is still very hurt, as she's been out of action since last summer. She has trained but was in a lot of pain, but her back is not better. She has been at AEW tapings every week in a backstage role and has done Spanish commentary for them. She also confirmed in an interview she might need surgery to fix her problem, so hoping for a speedy recovery for Thunder Rosa. And then breaking down AEW's hierarchy of their writing team, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports after Will Washington was hired to help out creative, Tony Khan is still the head booker and provides outlines for each show. QT Marshall and Sanjay Dutt help Khan with booking. Will Washington, who started last week, has a seat at the table, as they say. He is brought into creative meetings for input, along with Pat Buck, Jerry Lynn, Christopher Daniels, and Dean Malenko. However, he's not the number 2 like previously reported, and that goes to Marshall and Dutt. As noted, top talents like Kenny Omega, MJF, Chris Jericho, the Young Bucks, Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, FTR, CM Punk have significant input on their programs and direction. So that is the short and long of it. But shout outs to Will Washington. Will Washington got a seat at the table.
Yeah, for sure. But congratulations to Will, man. That's what's up right there, man. Congratulations to him. That's big, right? Big time move right there, man. So yeah,
I'm to see it.
I'm definitely excited for him. And like I know that QT is like he's been like helping Tony with like the book. I know even that Tony said in interviews plenty of times, like the QT was like stay up with him like while hours of the night, laying out shows and stuff like that. But honestly, like I think that adding Will, adding another member to the team, I think that's really good. It could like lighten the load a little bit, because like especially and honestly, I think it was a good idea. Like as much as I did think that Dark Elevation, I think that it served its purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that was something that was very much needed for a good chunk of independent wrestlers during the pandemic. Like I feel like that was like very, very needed and hella clutch for a lot of people. But I feel like at this point, especially when you add a new show, like you need all eyes to be focused on, you know, your main parts of the program and not getting sidetracked with trying to figure out who you want to put on Dark and Dark Elevation and stuff like that. Because I mean, like, I just think it served its purpose. But I do think that Dark and Dark Elevation, man, when people look back on that, I think that was a good call to make. Shit for real. But I'm surprised WWE never thought of some shit like that. Like having, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, because it's such a simple idea to get people featured on your programming when you don't use them on television, and then on top of that, an easy way to get them built up wins and stuff like that. So. Yeah. I think So that's pretty much all I had to say on that.
No, it's very true. The final AEW note is the rest of the details in regards to the whole Warner Brothers Discovery thing. Wrestling Observer Newsletter reports that this deal with AEW and Warner Brothers has all TV and streaming under the AEW banner, which means 5 hours of TV, Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, as well as any spin-off programs like AEW All Access will be included in this upcoming deal that has been rumored to be $1 billion. What it won't include, however, is RoH and Being the Elite. RoH is considered a separate company. Meanwhile, Being the Elite is owned by the Young Bucks. It's unknown what the plan will be with pay-per-view, which is currently offered on a variety of services, including WBD-owned Bleacher Report. If AEW's new deal includes streaming, pay-per-view offerings could be going to Discovery Plus or Max. AEW is currently making around $2.5 million a show for its 5 pay-per-views each year. It was noted that AEW would likely need some incentive in order to give up what it earns for the pay-per-view events, as it charges $60 each time. If AEW agreed to move to streaming, it's also possible that the number of pay-per-view events could change, as companies like WWE, UFC, and even Impact offer 12 pay-per-views a year through their streaming services. And of course, like I said, the rumor was started on Observer message board, as well as then reiterated on Voices of Wrestling, as well as across social media, that WBD would offer AEW a $1 billion TV deal. And for sure, we're going to talk more about that on next week's episode of Tru Heel Heat, because we'll know more after the upfronts on Wednesday.
Well, Warner Brothers, they ain't texting ROH back, leaving them on red. But I mean,
they like, hey, big head, and he's just like, nope.
Hey, big head. Nah, I'm alright. I'm good on you. They FaceTiming and shit. Nah, I'm good. Decline all FaceTime. But you would think that they would like take on that property because it's an easy one to bring on. ROH has name value. Warner Brothers, they're like, nah. We give you a whole other show. You keep whatever you doing over there. Like that shit is hilarious to me, bro.
It's too funny. It's too ridiculous. But we got to move to AEW's tag team partner, its biggest partner in wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, as they had the big New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of Super Juniors tournament starting up. So we have to bring in another special guest here with us. You'll see him always when we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he had to make a special appearance on this new era of Tru Heel Heat. He's your boy, Jay News. Jay News, how are you doing this morning? And happy Best of Super Juniors, sir.
Well, it ain't morning, brother. It's sort of afternoon here. It's about 1 p.m. You told me 1:45. I don't know what the hell is going on.
It's morning in Los Angeles.
I could give a crap about your damn Lakers. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. They got no shot against Denver, and that's real. They got no shot against Denver.
This coming from a Knicks fan? Oh,
listen,
let me wipe up your tears. Let me wipe up your tears.
That's fine.
I know the tears of Knicks fans become hatred. We got Romeo in the chat. Like
I ain't never been no damn
Nuggets. Y'all are just haters.
No. I'm not rooting for the Nuggets. I ain't rooting for the Nuggets. Have you seen them play, son?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. You know when the last time I seen them play is when we beat them in the playoffs.
That was last year. How many years ago was that?
This current iteration, when we won the championship. That was when we won
in the bubble.
Championship.
So we talking bubble?
When Jamal Murray was much better in the bubble.
Much better. That's
interesting.
He
was much better then. He was much better.
Andrew, what's going on, man? I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
It's coming in all hostile because we had to get through the AEW stuff before we get to New Japan. But
I feel you, man. It's all good.
But let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of Super Juniors. We are going to bring up day 2. So if you want to do the la J news to that is totally fine if you didn't watch day 2 already. But let's start day 1 of the Best of Super Juniors, which kicked off yesterday morning. And I would say this was one of the best shows from New Japan Pro Wrestling this year, actually. And it had a main event matchup that might have been one of my favorite matches of the year because it was for 2 points and my heart, as Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Hiromu Takahashi in an absolutely outstanding main event matchup that had Kurgan Hall rocking. They were loud. They were enthusiastic into this one. Speedball picking up the upset win, pinning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, closing the show, cutting the promo. So proud of my boy Speedball. But you also had some upsets on the show. Doki pulled off an upset over Kushida in a thrilling sprint of a matchup. You also had Yoshinobu Katamaru beat El Desperado in a well-toed limb-based bout. Him breaking down the knee of El Desperado to get the win over his former tag team partner. You had Robbie Eagles defeating Yo in a great matchup between former Chaos members. And speaking of former members of someplace, the former LA Dojo graduates, Clark Connors defeated the Jet Kevin Knight on night 1 in the opener. Now you can do your la J news as we talk about day 2. Day 2 featured Yo defeating Master Wato in a very good main event matchup between 2 of the future stars of the junior heavyweight division. You also had Hiromu Takahashi beat Doki in a fun bout, as well as El Desperado beating Bushi. You also had Speedball Mike Bailey defeated Sho, and TJP defeated Kushida, and Taiji Ishimori beat Teton. So a good opening 2 days to the Best of Super Juniors. Day 3 is tomorrow morning, but focusing on day 1, J News, what did you think about Speedball and Hiromu, who really just tore it up? I compared it and even had Speedball like my tweet on social media. It felt like Ishii versus Shingo from a couple of years ago on the first day of the G1, where you saw that matchup and you was like, I don't know if anything else on this tournament is going to be as good as this. That's what I felt after Speedball and Hiromu. What did you think?
Nah, man, it was pretty dope, man. I just thought that watching the entire show, a few things stood out, right? Obviously, this match, the main event, stood out and whatnot. It was a great main event, like you said. It had Kurikan on its feet, man. Like the whole crowd was into it from beginning to end. From an emotional standpoint, you felt the lows, you felt the highs. Like that crowd was so into it, man. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we are still taking another step forward. SP3, Master Wato, still taking those baby steps towards the Grand Master. So we have that going. I did not expect that result in the Kanemaru versus Desperado match. I did not expect that, but it was cool to see, just to see as to where Desperado places throughout the rest of the tournament. But for Kanemaru to come out with that sort of fire and that sort of aggression, I want to see more of that throughout the tournament. So that was dope for me to see as well. Doki's win over
that was a surprise to me. I did not expect that at all. I did not expect that one.
He's everybody's dark horse. And at the end of the day, like the dude's in tremendous shape. He's a fan favorite. Like they're riding those 5 guys right now, and I can't necessarily knock them for that. The only match that I didn't pay too much attention to was the TJP match, and I'm forgetting who his opponent was right now.
Teton.
The Teton,
right? Yeah. And mind you, the match wasn't bad and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it didn't pop out like the rest of them. Like even the Clark Connors versus Kevin Knight match, that popped because of, and let me say this, let me be clear about this. Clark Connors is more believable as a savage than the supposed leader of the goddamn Bullet Club, who is David Finn.
Bro, he's a fraud. David Finley's a fraud.
More David Finley slander.
J News, real quick. I'll be to interrupt you, bro, but you had brought that up real quick. I just gotta say this. Let me tell you something. I do not believe anything that this dude said. Like, but it feels like I'm watching somebody who is trying to put on like a persona that he doesn't even believe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's
Exactly.
that's all I had to say on that. My bad. I ain't mean to interrupt.
That's
Bro.
see. It's the first time I ever met Andrew, and he was with me on this. Man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. SP3.
You had Sanal on your side last time.
Listen,
Now you got
listen.
Andrew on your side with this. The slander of David Phil.
Listen, man. At the end of the day, people just
The
understand.
Billy Club needs a rebel. The world needs a rebel.
I'll say this also because it was interesting to me to see it from a long form storytelling perspective. Gato seconded Clark Connors. I didn't expect that. So there's already a little something bubbling there, brother. There's a little some bubbling there right there, bro. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't second everybody. He usually seconds the main man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for him to second Clark Connors, that details something for me. What else? What else did I pick out of this? The Francisco Akira faced off with who during this? Right. So that match was fast. So that was why it's like, all right, I know Waddle won, but it was like I didn't notice anything that Francesco did. And at the end of the day, I'm biased. So I'm gonna talk about another match. I'm talking about another man. At the end of the day, Lio Rush is gonna win this tournament, brother. He's gonna win this tournament.
About that because Show couldn't even keep his promise even before the bell of not cheating.
First of all, we all knew the shenanigans were gonna go down, but Lio Rush overcoming the shenanigans and doing a damn thing and getting the win besides Evil was definitely top notch for me on that end. I gotta watch night 2 tonight, and I'll probably watch night 3 earlier in the morning tomorrow to be on par. I think they take a break after the 14th for like a day or two. So
I think it's the 15th, and then they take a
17th,
1-day
right?
break. Yeah, they take a 1-day break until the 17th, and then my birthday, Hiromu versus Kushida next Thursday.
There you go.
I'm ready.
So on that off day on May 16th, catch your good brother Jay News on the Patreon, wrapping up the first 4 shows or the first 4 or 5 shows of the Best of Super Juniors from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And reiterate for anyone who didn't watch our preview, your finals pick and your winner of the New Japan Cup this year. I mean, excuse me, Best of Super Juniors. Best of Super Juniors this year.
My finals pick, man. You asking me to remember a lot right now.
I just remember you had El Desperado.
Right, I had Despy and Leo Rush for the finals. I have Leo winning. I have Leo Rush winning the Best of Super Juniors because I want to see that rematch with him and Hiromu.
Man, yeah.
So
you're changing your pick because last time you said Despy, but yeah, you did. But Leo win. That's fine. Your Leo Rush bias is well established on this channel.
Yeah,
okay.
Why you gotta call him out, SP3? Why you gotta call him out, bro?
I'm just saying he changing his pick. He changed his pick after one.
I forgot.
He got to win over Show. He acted like he was supposed to be this big impression.
No. First of all, he already made his impression. Let's be clear. He's just finna win this tournament. No, you're right. I did pick Desperado just because I feel like that story that him and Hiromu have going, depending as to how they want to get it done at Dominion, makes sense. They have time for Leo Rush to do more matches versus Hiromu, whoever the junior heavyweight champion is going to be. But Desperado has that storyline well established for the last couple of years. So yeah, I did pick Despy to win. But Leo and Despy in the finals with Despy for the win. I feel like if they could do a triple threat, it would be great for me at the end of the day. But I doubt they'll do it. But yeah, that's definitely how I have it going down. Desperado for the win of the overall Best of Super Juniors tournament. But Leo Rush is my second favorite at the end of the day. So if they can get a triple threat for Wrestle Kingdom, I'm down for that too.
He's like time limit draw in the finals. Adam Pearson is in the chat with us. Thank you, good brother, for joining us. Bringing up, he says this show was the first NJPW show I've watched in full, and my oh my, what an experience! That was quite the show. Like I said, it was one of the better shows, top to bottom, because a lot of the undercard matches were very quick but full of action, and then that main event matchup just felt like a struggle, a battle between Speedball and Hiromu. Andrew, I wanted to ask you finals pick, and who do you think wins the Best of Super Juniors?
So real quick, just to touch on that, I haven't seen the first night of Super Juniors, but I did catch the Speedball versus Hiromu match. And when you had told me and hit me up before the show, and you was like, pick your top 3 like favorite matches that you've seen like over the recent time span. That was like one of the first matches that came up, along with the one I just saw. The one I really liked on SmackDown with the 3-way that started off the show, like that Speedball and Takahashi match. Like when we talk about people that's going, well, first let me just say this real quick. Speedball getting a win over Hiromu. Now I cannot, because I'm pretty sure at some point they're gonna run that back for the title like after the tournament. I cannot wait for that. I really want to see what they're gonna do when the championship on the line. I'm pretty sure they're gonna take it to a next level that they did, hopefully more than what they did at Night 1 of Super Juniors. In terms of winners of the tournament, I think Jay News probably got on the nose with his El Desperado pick, especially when you consider the history between him and Hiromu Takahashi. I wouldn't be mad at Leo Rush either. Leo Rush wouldn't either. Definitely not gonna be complaining about that. What was that match they had at the? Was that that wasn't the anniversary? That was the New Japan Cup.
New Japan Cup final.
Cup final. Yeah, the New Japan Cup final. That was a banger match, bro. They had that building rocking when they wrestled there. But I wouldn't be mad at either one of those. I think Jay News had a great shot with those 2 picks.
My finals pick is El Desperado versus Speedball. I'm on the Speedball agenda. Speedball to the finals. I need him in the finals, but I got Despy winning. I do got Despy winning.
Bro, the year that Speedball is putting together, like it's so crazy. I heard him say this in an interview recently. He says like he feels like every year people say that it's his breakout year. It feels like every single year, bro. Like he has like the most craziest years to start off. Like even earlier, coming off of the WrestleMania weekend, he had wrestled Michael Oku. I think it was for West Coast Pro, but that was one of my favorite independent matches I've seen this year. Speedball is like one of the most like consistently great wrestlers that I've seen. Like he never turns it off. I don't think dude ever takes a break, a easy day. Like Speedball's pulling together a hell of a 2023 that just started, coming off of a hell of a 2022.
Yeah, man. Like, and he's gonna get more fans due to being in the best of the Super Juniors. That's the coolest part about it. It's awesome. And it's a guy who's so nice. I got to be able to interview him this year, and that was one of the things that was on my bucket list. I gotta interview Speedball. That's the only interview I will tell everybody, pulling back the curtain here, from Impact Wrestling, because I have a good relationship with them with interviews. That's the only person I've ever requested to interview from Impact Wrestling was Speedball Mike Bailey.
That's what's up, bro.
Talking about a little bit of New Japan news before we let Jay News go here. In an interview with Dark Parisio Flosion, Kota Ibushi said that he has been offered a deal to return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ibushi is currently a free agent after his previous deal with NJPW expired in February. He hasn't wrestled for them since the G1 Climax Finals in 2021. Ibushi, who had a very public falling out with several involved with management in the company, also noted that he has resolved issues with a good chunk of people there. I know you are primarily a New Japan fan, so I wanted to bring this up with you on the show. Jay News, would you be open to Ibushi returning to NJPW?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, if he squashed whatever issues he had with management over there, by all means, return the guy to the land of the rising sun. But my whole thing about it is that I'm not sure if he's going to want to continue to do that, right? We don't know where his head is at there. He might want to wrestle in America for a bit. I'm not saying that he's going to finish his career here, but he might want to be here for a little bit or whatever the case is. Who knows at the end of the day? Because the speculation's been running rampant about him going to AEW and, reuniting with the whole Golden Lovers thing with him and Kenny Omega or whatever. So, you don't necessarily know. Would I like to see it? Hell yeah, because I want to see a Sonata versus Ibushi match. I want that. You know what I'm saying? So it's that right there. Is it a good idea? Is it good for the wrestling fans? For sure. But it's going to be up to him as to what he wants to do in that aspect, because, not for nothing, and no shade to DDT, but like him going back to DDT just wouldn't make any sense at this point in his career. You know what I'm saying? So that's my take on it.
Makes sense to me. The first matches have also been announced for the joint NJPW Pro Wrestling Noah AJPW show all together again in June. The newly announced tag team matches will feature Chaos versus Noah, LIJ versus AJPW, and more. And the main event has been announced as Hiroshi Tanahashi teaming with Noah's Kenta Miyahara and Noah's Kaito Kiyomiya to verse Noah's Keno, AJPW's Yuma Ayaki, and NJPW's Kazuka Okada. Okada and Kiyomiya on opposite sides again. Kiyomiya gonna kick him in the face, and we're gonna get a more pissed off Okada. He is the person who evolves Okada.
I'm about to say shit. Okada and Kano not getting along, so I'm trying to see how that whole thing gonna work out.
What do you think about the whole era of collaboration with NJPW, Andrew?
I think it's good, man. Like, I mean, I think you always would want at most, if not, like, if you can bring your top talents from each promotion together, I think it only benefits everybody that's watching overall. So I think that's a plus for all sides, especially consider like when you're looking at if I'm ranking these three promotions. Of course, you got New Japan number 1. I'm putting Noah number 2, and then you got All Japan at number 3 in terms of what I think is the better product and the ones that I've seen. Because I don't tune in a lot, but I catch like the big shows, and of course I'm covering it through the news and stuff like that. So I'm aware of what's going on, but not like the sort of the ins and outs of it, so to speak. So, but just from a general sense of it, I definitely think that this is good overall, and I can't wait to see the show come June.
Yes, a lot of big shows for June, especially the era of collaboration with All Together again. You got Dominion, you got Forbidden Door. So you're going to see Jay News a lot on here, but I want to thank Jay News for joining us here on the Tru Heel Heat Flash Hit podcast. Jay News, get all your plugs in. You also do great podcasts on movies, so let the people know everything you got going on, sir.
So, folks, as per the usual, if you're not used to watching your good brother Jay News on the Tru Heel Heat Wrestling channel right here, I am always on with SP3, and others are always welcome to join the New Japan party. So you can catch me here on Tru Heel Heat. You can also catch me on Tru Heel Heat Sports with the baseball talk, Tru Heel High Heat. Catch me there as well. Catch me on the Patreon, as I said before. So the first 5 shows for the Best of Super Juniors, I'm going to be reviewing on the off day, which is on May 16th. So that'll hopefully be up by then on the Patreon. So check that out. On that end. And also I do have a movie podcast that is out there in the world. So I have it on YouTube, and I also have it on all the different streaming platforms that you have, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all that stuff. It is my first name. My first name is John L, JOHNEL, your friendly neighborhood moviegoer. So I review every single movie I go to the movie theaters for, and I go to the movie theaters about 2 to 3 times a week. So check that out on there as well. Yeah, that's my hobby, brother. That is my hobby. I unlike the majority of my fellow brethren here on Tru Heel Heat, do not have any children. So I get to go spend time at the movie theater. So that is my other lot and my other passion as well. So if you can support, I appreciate you. So that is all that I have going there.
Thank you, Jay News. And of course, we'll be back together to preview next week. We got to preview New Japan Resurgence coming up next weekend. So you'll see him back on the YouTube channel very, very soon next week. Jay News, thank you so much for being on Tru Heel Heat this week, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, sir.
Appreciate you. Good to meet you, Andrew.
Good to meet you too, man. Good to meet you too.
Meeting them by fighting, man. I can't bring you around company ever.
Jay News, Denver and 6.
Hey, there you go. Me and Andrew on the same boat, man. We just met.
Oh, you kicked him out?
Get out of here! Come on, man. Oh, man.
Hey, real quick on the All Together thing that you had mentioned. I had forgot about this. Like I mean, you mentioned it, but Kano and Okada on the same team. Yeah. Bro, Kano, I know I had covered this on post. Kano has his 15-year anniversary show, like 5 or so days after All Together. Hey, who's to say Okada won't? You know what I'm saying? Go to nowhere.
That's a big one.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, it's look. Okada the never openweight 6-man tag team champion right now. He's sort of out of the main event. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Can be out there,
that could be the catalyst, like him and Kano going at it in that main event, and Kano being like, "Oh, you know, fuck you, like you whatever," and then Okada, better yet, Okada saying that, especially coming off what he
like,
said.
You ain't shit. You didn't know
you know what I'm saying?
He looks down to everybody who hated New Japan.
Bro, this is my favorite version of Okada, like him big broing everybody and talking down to everybody like that. This is my favorite version of him, bro, because he doesn't care anymore. So this is good. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was used to set up a singles match between Okada and Kano at the at Kano's 15th anniversary show. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure like if they were to have an opportunity, Noah would have an opportunity to get Okada, it wouldn't be for no small show. But it's Kano's 15th anniversary, so like would
I see that. I could definitely see that. And Keno's one of their bigger stars, so they may want to bring in someone big. He had the big match with Naito earlier in the year. He's been doing stuff with AJPW as well, so they kind of been putting him everywhere. Let's talk about the WWE block because they had their weekly shows this week. WWE Raw was first up on Monday. They did 1.785 million viewers. The show featured the Raw half of the World Heavyweight Championship tournament, with Seth Rollins defeating Shinsuke Nakamura and Damian Priest in a very good triple threat match, while Finn Balor beat The Miz and Cody Rhodes, thanks in large part to Brock Lesnar costing Cody by F5ing him on the floor and then through the commentary table before challenging him to a rematch at Night of Champions.
Who you think gonna win, Sid?
I mean, are they really going to have Cody win twice against Brock? I don't know. But then in the semifinals, in the main event, you had Seth Rollins defeating Finn Balor in what I thought was a great main event to advance to the World Heavyweight Championship tournament final at Night of Champions. I'm going to say with Cody and Brock at Night of Champions, yeah, I think that they're going to try to build up, especially if they're going to do Cody and Roman at SummerSlam. They got to heat them up fast. 2 wins over Brock and then him potentially winning the Money in the Bank and calling his shot for SummerSlam. I can see that being the arc for Cody to get him back to a position. So much sense, bro. To get him back to a position that's close to where he was at WrestleMania. I know it's not likely.
That's what I said. I was like, it makes too much sense. That's why it's not going to happen.
He's like, that ain't happening, bro. That ain't happening, bro. That looks too good. But talking about news coming out of Raw or coming out of WWE, there was kind of more information about the Endeavor merger. WWE announced their formation of a new placeholder company for their merge company with USC under Endeavor. PW Insider reported that WWE incorporated a new LLC for the as yet unnamed company that will be in charge of both UFC and WWE once the Endeavor deal to acquire WWE closes. The company has a placeholder name of New Whale Inc. and an SEC filing notes that the new name will be revealed once the merger is completed. It had been previously announced that the new publicly traded company will have the stock market initials TKO. Friday's new SEC filing relating to the WWE sale to Endeavor notes that the company was in contact with over 60 potential counterparties in regards to the sale. As reported, the company filed with the SEC on Friday in relation to the Endeavor acquisition, and FIFO notes that the filing revealed the number of parties that communicated with WWE about a sale. The statement in which they list the parties as included strategic companies, financial sponsors, family offices, and sovereign wealth funds. Endeavor and WWE announced the sale on April 3rd. It said beginning on January 17, 2023 and continuing until April 2nd, 2023, when WWE executed the transition agreement, WWE's financial advisors acting on its behalf were contacted by over 60 potential counterparties. Between February 6th and March 21st, 2023, WWE entered into a confidentiality agreements with 20 potential counterparties. All but one of the confidentiality agreements entered into by WWE in connection with this process, including a standstill provision for the benefit of WWE with a customary exclusion permitting parties to make proposals to WWE privately and confidentially, and each of the standstill provisions had a duration of at least 12 months. All confidentiality agreements entered into with the standstill provisions, including the customary exclusion for private proposals and follow-away provision that allow the counterparty to make a proposal to acquire WWE. So basically, they had about 20 suitors at one point that they had agreements with, and then Vince basically chose Endeavor in layman's terms. What do you think about this information kind of coming out and the New Whale Inc.? Definitely a placeholder name, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, but I don't really like care about like the name of it. You know, this whole thing. I'm more so interested in how they'll do this whole UFC WWE like integration like amongst the different products. Like I don't think it'll be like anything like drastic or anything like that. I think we'll see something along the lines of like, you know, more WWE talents being featured on screen at UFC events, like shown in the crowd and stuff like that, along with the other UFC fighters in attendance. I think they'll be like the most that we'll see. Like I think that the max that could come out of that from WWE side is maybe Brock getting back into the octagon. Like that's probably the most that would, or maybe, oh shit, I think Lashley, I think he still has like some agreements with Bellator, I believe. But
Yeah.
if they were to work something out, I feel like that's like the most that would come out of that from WWE side. From UFC side, like as SP3, you got me thinking about this because you mentioned the Bad Bunny Roman Reigns, but I'm telling you, but Conor McGregor might be the reason Cody don't finish the story at SummerSlam. I'm
He's
telling
been
you,
beefing with Roman online.
you see
Yeah.
you see it. See SP3, you put that bad juju in the world. You see what's happening, and see Conor McGregor about to get a damn title shot at SummerSlam, and Cody,
Ready for it.
and we gonna have to wait till Philadelphia to see Cody. Or we gonna have to wait until WrestleMania 46. And Cody, an old man.
A whole 10 months, y'all. We gotta wait a whole 10 months. And yes, Seth, in that agreement that was put out, it was revealed that Vince McMahon is executive chairman for life unless he is unable to work, resigned, or deaf.
Bro,
so
but
we're not getting rid of Vince anytime soon.
But
we're not getting rid of him.
Well, Vince, but it's so crazy, like how he's been able to work himself in this position despite all these allegations that are out there against him. Like this dude is like literally finessed his way into a position where he's like untouchable in a sense, and like he has like all like we've talked like we've been on the podcast a couple times, and you've been on the NWA podcast, and we talked about like the sexual misconduct allegations and everything concerning that, just especially over the past year. But it's like really kind of fucking ridiculous, like that he's been able to get into the position that he's in, despite everything that he's accused of. And then, you know what I'm saying, Ari Emanuel to like when they did that initial interview after that sale was announced, that he would like when Vince got asked about it, Vince would, you know, he said, you know, the people make mistakes and stuff like that, and then he would get short on the interview, and then Ari would like pick up for him and like try to try to what's the word for it? Just try to add more onto Vince's answer, but just try to fill it in and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that part is like really kind of, and I don't think that people like I see that, you know, the comment a lot that people sort of let it slide. I don't think people let it slide, but I just think that people just have come to the realization that they're like nothing's going to change, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing's going to happen. Vince is not going anywhere, and I think that people just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, bro. Like, especially at this point now. Like, I don't think anything's going on with that. But,
giving up
but
hope,
like,
basically.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I think that's just what it is. Especially, like, bro, after all the allegations, this man is still in the exact same position that he got his way back into the exact same position. Probably kicked his damn daughter off the team. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying?
The only good part is that he doesn't have 80% voting power like he did before.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
and like even on the creative front, like as minuscule as that is, like when you talk about on the scale of the, you know, the allegation stuff, like that's like bottom of the barrel shit. But like in a wrestling sense, it matters. But I'm saying like, bro, that Raw after WrestleMania, that had all his little fucking fingerprints all over it. But at the same time, can't get Triple H too much of a pass, because I think that's a piece of that is still him. But you can definitely tell the distinct differences between the two in terms of booking. Like Triple H's is more like fluid, and Vince's shit is all over the place, and you know what I'm saying. But whatever. But again, that's very minuscule on when we talking about, like, you know, in relation to the sexual misconduct allegations. So like just to follow up, like reiterate, I think that especially at this point, a lot of people just kind of sort of just gave up on it. You know what I'm saying? And like in hopes of something happening, or, you know, him suffering consequences for that in whatever way that may be. It ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening.
You better off wishing to see Santa Claus, or buying the Brooklyn Bridge, basically.
Better off hoping the Lakers beat the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, this guy now, man! I swear, man, you lucky your damn Pistons ain't anywhere near these
I'm a
playoffs.
Cavaliers, bro. I'm a Cavaliers fan, bro.
Cavs, yeah, y'all
Hey,
did real well in the
hey,
first round.
Hey, SP3, look, if y'all beat Denver, bro, don't invite me back on the podcast, bro. Like, look, don't embarrass me like that, bro. Don't embarrass me like that, bro.
I'm gonna invite you. I'm gonna invite you because you had a lot to say. I'm gonna be like, what now? What now?
Bring me on here with J News.
I'm bringing everybody up. It's like one by one. Friday, the final note before we get into SmackDown last night, Fightful Select had some additional backstage notes from Monday night's post Backlash edition of WWE Raw, including the Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar segment. According to the report, WWE was heavily piping in audio for the Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes segment, and several people within WWE reportedly echoed the online sentiment that piping in all the extra noise for the segment wasn't necessary. Fightful also notes that Brock Lesnar was disgusted along with two other large stagehands to get him a ringside was disguised along with two other stagehands to get him ringside for his appearance and spot where he attacked Cody Rhodes and challenged him to a fight at Night of Champions. Fightful reports that the stagehands rushed a truck but ringside in order to hide Lesnar. Fightful Select also had some other additional notes on the Trish Stratus segment, which featured the return of Becky Lynch. According to the report, Becky Lynch was cut off with her music hitting the speakers before she could cut a promo on Trish Stratus. So Lynch was reportedly supposed to speak during that segment. Fightful notes that Lynch's comments weren't supposed to be a substantial part of the segment. Also, the feud will reportedly continue for a while, so there will still be time to reincorporate Lynch's planned comments for later. Additionally, Fightful reports that WWE opted to switch the order of the two triple threat matches for the World Heavyweight Championship tournament on the broadcast. Numerous new stars were reportedly not brought to the show as well. And lastly, Fightful notes that the show was the highest grossing event in WWE history in the city of Jacksonville, Florida. So good notes for Raw. It was a better episode featuring the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. So that was good stuff as well. And as we move on to SmackDown, and of course, when you're talking about SmackDown, you know that's the home of the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, and he had the return of Roman Reigns on the show, who demanded an apology from the Usos for losing at WrestleMania and then losing the rematch after dedicating it to the tribal chief, which Jimmy Uso didn't want to do and got pushed in the face by Roman Reigns for his troubles before Jey Uso stepped in to apologize for him. However, Roman then had Paul Heyman inform the Usos that the undisputed WWE tag team titles would come back to the Bloodline when Roman and Solo face Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at Night of Champions. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to take the wax out of your ears. Sami Zayn is apparently going to Saudi Arabia. It was reported earlier in the week, a few days ago, that Syria and Saudi Arabia were working through their issues, and that's what's making this possible. But I guess we'll.
Is that confirmed?
That's what it's the talks between Syria and Saudi Arabia have been confirmed, and this match has been made official. There's graphics and everything. Asuka also turned heel by spearing mist in Bianca Belair's eyes in one of the most telegraphed, contrived heel turns I think I've ever seen. She should have had a sign that said heel turn was coming. But in the better part of SmackDown, they then, the SmackDown half of the World Heavyweight Championship tournament saw AJ Styles beating Edge and Rey Mysterio in a super fun opening triple threat, while a bloody Bobby Lashley defeated Austin Theory and Sheamus in a solid triple threat. Finally, AJ Styles defeated Bobby Lashley in a decent main event matchup featuring, Bobby Lashley selling that blood that he was losing to advance to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at Night of Champions. AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins.
The rematch.
Who you got coming up at Night of Champions, Andrew?
It's Seth, bro. It's Seth. But time out real quick. Did you see the way Edge had people twerking for his his comeback world title win? I'm like, bro, y'all done switched up on Seth that quick, bro. When they announced this turn, like they announced the bracket, Seth was like the clear favorite to me, clear favorite. Like I'm talking about bar none. Seth was the person. This man Edge got on Twitter, and it was a great, you know what I'm saying, great promo that he cut, great speech that he cut, and he made a lot of valid points, and he created a lot of intrigue, and I mean that's what you're supposed to do. He created a lot of great intrigue, you know, with the whole retirement thing. But see, look, me, a smart man, I realized that Edge. I've covered plenty of Edge interviews over the past year. This man has talked about this retirement. He walked back the retirement, brought it back up again. Dog walked it back. You know what I'm saying? So look, I will no longer be buying into the Edge retirement. I will believe Edge is retiring when he retires. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even think he's retired. I think he's going to finish up with WWE and then he's going to AEW. That's what I think. That's what I think Edge is doing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I think Edge's future is going to be, especially considering that, you know, it's public now that he received an offer from another company before he went back to WWE, and then he magically got cleared to return to the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Once he talked to that other company, they was like, "Oh yeah, you're cleared. You're cleared. You're fine. You're fine. Just come."
Yeah, you go SP3.
No, I was just gonna feature this comment from King of the North. Says, "Yo,
he said the twerk in front. Yeah, you see it. You see it.
Twerking for Edge, y'all.
Hey, but no, in all seriousness though, like, I mean, like that trying to be funny aside, like, I wouldn't have been like upset at it, you know what I'm saying? Especially like I seen some of the ideas that people was throwing around on Twitter. They was like, you know, Edge's retirement match being a world title match against Seth Rollins, you know, in Toronto, and then Seth beating him for the title. But I'm like, dog, Seth Rollins is like on fire right now. Bro, Seth Rollins, like, when people don't, people realize it. I'm not gonna say people don't realize it, but like, this dude, he hasn't won a lot. I'm talking about when you even going back to early 2022. Seth Rollins has been on the receiving end of a lot of losses, especially he lost 3 straight times to Cody. You know what I'm saying? 3 straight big time matches to Cody. And Seth, throughout all of that, has maintained his level of popularity. Shit, it's even grown at this point. Like, Seth is over, bro. So like, I feel like now you have the opportunity with Seth Rollins to have this new persona that he has that, you know, a lot of people are sort of up and down on, but regardless, like, the motherfucker's over. So like, it really don't matter. Like, so when I'm looking at that, you have the opportunity to have that level of popularity and allow him to bring back what he was doing back in 2018 when he was the Intercontinental Champion, and he was just going out there putting on heat in the ring. You know what I'm saying? You have the opportunity to combine both of those right now, because Seth is at the peak right now. So yeah, it got to be Seth Rollins though, and I hope that they just let him run with it. Don't give him no bum ass fuse. Like, I'm not trying to see him like dragged along. Man, look, give me a good 4-week program, build it up, give me a great opponent, let him go out there, get like 15, 20 minutes and let him kill it, and then move on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to see this Seth get, like, just give me a good program, give me a great match, and then have him move up to the next, move on to whoever's next. You know what I'm saying? That's all I need. But I done seen this man put on bangers 2 times in a row with the Miz, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Miz and then Omos. He Seth, put on good matches with.
Seth is just Seth is just cut different, bro. Seth, you want to know what? I know. Good man Phil Lindsay had mentioned this a few times. So I like something along like this, but like if they weren't to put this title on Seth, you know what I'm saying? Like, brother got some options. You know what I'm saying? He got some options, and I wouldn't be surprised if he tired of getting passed over. I'm pretty sure that shit gets annoying after a while. You know, you being at the top of your game, and then you watching everybody else, you know, sort of pass you up a little bit. And honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think if Jay White would have went to WWE, Seth Rollins would have been doing the favors. I think he'd have been doing the favors.
I wouldn't have mind that. I wouldn't have mind that at all. I did want to highlight this comment here from Negro Buck. He says, "LOL, man, that's what people keep saying. But can he even be called Edge in AEW? Calling him by his real name feels wrong. No, he can't be called Edge in AEW. But you call him Adam the Edge.
Edge Copeland.
No, Cage. He's the brother of Christian. He's the brother of Christian, so they need the same
that
last
shit
name.
Sucks.
Same last name. Adam Cage. Adam the Edge Cage. That's
Adam Cage, Brian Cage, Christian Cage, Ethan Page. Hangman Page.
Just hide it. Yes. Yeah, there you go. All the rhyming names in the business. And since we're talking about Night of Champions, someone is going to do an insanely long live stream of Night of Champions and Clash of the Champions over on his channel, over on the Tru Heel Heat Gaming Twitch.tv later today. He is the ace in the face of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. You saw him last night watching SmackDown and watching my Los Angeles Lakers win and watching his pitiful, disgusting, pathetic New York Knicks lose in Miami to the Miami Heat. It's Romeo Anthony Colon. How you doing?
Let's go Nuggets. Let's go Nuggets. I got 2 clips left in the chamber. I got the Nuggets and whoever comes out of the East. I got 2 clips.
Hey, Romeo, I'm telling you, bro. Y'all gonna be sick if the Lakers win the finals. SP3 ain't gonna let y'all hit the end of that shit, bro. He is not letting that go. I'm sorry. And then the thing about it is, y'all gonna have to wait until the next season starts for him to stop talking about it. He probably still gonna be talking about it until the next
until next playoff. Until next playoff. Until we eliminated from the next playoff.
How good was Jalen Brunson, man? We're casting. The Knicks are casting for a sidekick for Jalen Brunson. Auditions are taking place. Please, we need somebody besides Julius Randle. You want Randle back?
But hey, I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Romeo, y'all need to get Julius Randle up out of there, bro. Like, especially after that comment that he made at the press conference when he was like, "Well, maybe they wanted more." Why would you say some shit like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all in the middle of the series right now.
That attitude doesn't vibe with the team. No.
Absolutely, King of the North. Look at this nasty hater business going on. This nasty hater, but he's a great live. He's a great.
What's up, Romeo? It's good to see you, bro.
Good to see you. If you need a name for Edge in AEW, White Adam. How about that?
White Adam.
That's my. I'm throwing that in the ring.
Are you here to join us, or are you here to plug your life?
Sexton Hardcastle. That's gonna be his name in AEW. Can you imagine?
So I can kick you out if you're not here.
4 p.m. Eastern. My YouTube channel for Romeo Anthony or the Twitch Tru Heel Heat Gaming. Patreons, you can join us on stream if you're a patron on patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month, bonus content and stuff like this where we just hang around when nothing's going on Saturday and just hang out, have some fun, watch some matches.
All that for $3 a month, man. You missing out if you ain't signing up.
Well, that's it. We're doing that for free over on Twitch. Don't even just have to follow us on Twitch. You got that over there. For Romeo, are you sticking around, Romeo? Or are you just here to plug your things and be a hater?
Are you talking WWE still?
Yeah, we're talking WWE.
I'll hang off of that.
All right. Well, we got WWE news. WWE has revealed that Vince McMahon agreed to pay legal fees in the dropped lawsuit from stockholders relating to his return to the board of directors. As had been reported, the Detroit Police and Fire Retirement System, as well as stockholder Scott Fellows, had filed lawsuits in January that allege McMahon breached his fiduciary duties when returned to the board of directors in order to oversee a sale in the company. As PW Insider reports, the company has noted in an SEC filing made on Friday that the lawsuits are combined but then dropped when McMahon agreed to repeal the challenge bylaw amendments that were at issue. The filing notes that McMahon agreed to pay plaintiffs' counsel $1.65 million in legal fees, including expenses, and the plaintiffs filed the motion to dismiss the case on January 23rd, and it was granted 2 days later. And there's also the amendment in the whole deal with Endeavor that says that McMahon will remain as executive chairman of the board for life unless he dies or resigns or lets go of his duties. Romeo, what do you think about this man in the latest edition of Mixed Succession?
I'm tired of this shit. Every week. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of CM Punk every week. I'm just tired of it all. Whatever. Who cares? Honest take, sorry.
I'm with him.
I can't knock you for any type of honesty. That's fine. Let's move on to NXT. NXT, they did 601,000 viewers this week. The show featured the first half of the NXT Women's Championship tournament as Tiffany Stratton beat Gigi Dolan, while Lyra Valkyria, defeated Kiana James. You had Gallus beat the Dyad to retain the NXT Tag Team Championships, while Braun Breaker defeated Trick Williams in the main event. Post-match, Carmelo Hayes made his return, but the NXT champion was speared in midair by Braun Breaker to stand tall to end the show.
Bro, whoever's telling him to do that springboard, please stop telling him to do that shit. That shit looks fucking stupid, bro. It's like, tell him stop doing it. Like, I'm pretty like, I mean, that's his signature move. You know what I'm saying? And I really like Carmelo Hayes, especially like the way that they have been presenting him since he won the NXT title, and even on the lead up to that. I really think, but like, bro, like little stuff like that. Like, I don't know why that stuff irritates me, bro, because it just don't make no like, bro, you got this big ass dude behind you. Like, why are you trying to jump off the ropes? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing this, bro? You know what I'm saying? But you know,
it's like, that's just stupid. Why?
It's stupid, bro. It's stupid, bro. But yeah,
let me tell you something though. Heel Braun Breaker is a treat.
It's something special. Hey, man. Hey, let me tell you something. This is what he needed. This is what he needed.
It was.
This is what he needed.
Put him on the main roster like that. You gotta stop.
That's what, bro. When Carmelo beats him, get him on the main roster, please. Is this exact persona like what he's doing right now? Just have him come out there talking shit to everybody and starting beef. Shit, you can use Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin doing jobs right now, so they he do one. He ain't got no problem doing another one. So there you go.
Speaking of which, the real reason was revealed why Braun Breaker wasn't called up in the recent WWE draft. Braun wasn't a part of the 18 different people from NXT that went up in the WWE draft. Worked Wrestling reports that regarding Braun Breaker going undrafted, they've heard that there were tentative plans to draft Braun to the main roster, but officials are so impressed with his heel persona, he remained in NXT to better cultivate his character. Breaker will challenge Hayes in a NXT Championship rematch at Battleground on May 28th, which runs head-to-head with AEW Double or Nothing. And Work Wrestling also notably mentioned that there are tentative plans to call Breaker up after SummerSlam, which takes place on August 5th. Yeah. Who would you have him immediately feud with if the plan is for him to get called up after SummerSlam, Romeo?
Need a heel. Have him fuck up Omos. No, wait. I need a baby face. No, I need a baby face. Shit.
Hey,
probably
man,
on Raw.
Hey, look, hey, Romeo, just throw you on real quick. Look, I like Johnny Gargano and all that, but he ain't really doing shit for me right now.
He's gonna be in the tag division with DIY. That's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be fun. But before that, he can do them favors for do them favors for
fucking baby faces are so dry.
But look, but I'm thinking about baby faces right now, like in the men's division. It's like, you got Seth.
I say AJ Styles.
You got Cody. You got
AJ Styles. You could do the springboard into the spear.
Oh my god! You just trying to piss off Andrew.
hey, real quick. Grayson Waller, he doing this his talk show. That's next week, right?
Yeah, next week.
So they definitely doing something with him and AJ, right? Like that's.
Yeah, I think they're gonna verse on that same show. That's what I immediately predicted that on last night.
They're gonna run that back. Yeah. But going back to the question, when you think about baby faces, bro, it's like, I mean, bro, you better off just coming up like having them just squash somebody. Like, it don't even got to be like somebody that's on the active roster. It could be like an enhancement talent. But I know you said SummerSlam SP3, so he gonna need like a big program.
They said after SummerSlam.
Oh, after SummerSlam.
He's supposed to be drafted. That's a good shout by King of the North, Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, that'd be fun, but you gotta build up to that. When's Edge on his way out? Is Edge gonna be around?
Hey, it's in August that SmackDown's gonna be in Toronto. He said he wants to end his career in Toronto. So.
Is that before or after SummerSlam?
That's after. That's August 14th. That's August 14th.
No, because I see. for a moment I had forgotten about the new world title because I was like, they gonna keep this shit on Roman and he going like you know what I'm saying? Like,
Or, I think it's August 18th. August 18th.
August 18th. That's SummerSlam. Yeah. Okay.
That's after SummerSlam. That's 2 weeks.
Oh, you talking about the Toronto show? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, the Toronto show. August 5th is
one last favor before you go, Edge. Put over the kid. Right.
Put over the kid. Come on, just put over the kid. I like that one too. King of the North says Sheamus. Go through 2 other dudes on the way to Sheamus. Could do that.
Sheamus versus Braun. That's...
Butch and Ridge beat them down and then face Sheamus.
Bro, why is Sheamus not in the Continental Champion? Like, what? Like, what? I genuinely want to know.
Why?
Exactly. I've lived my whole lived our whole life with the hunky tonk man as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. I'm sorry, that needs to end.
Yes,
Gunther needs to.
And he's the perfect guy.
Look, and I agree, but like I'm just saying, like especially at like I just felt like they've had so many opportunities to finally do this thing with Sheamus that they've been hyping up for so long. It's like they be dangling the carrot and shit. They be like, "Hey, you want it?"
You need to always pay those stuff off. It's like when John Cena got an opportunity to go for number 17. You didn't need John Cena to do that because he's already at 16. Sheamus won every single thing in this company.
But I'm talking about like right now, my own personal prep. Like I don't give a fuck if John Cena wins 16, 17, whatever the fuck it is. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if nobody breaks that shit. I don't really care about that shit. You know, so Cena can stay away for however long until he come back. Whatever. Forget John Cena. I'm talking about this man Sheamus and the in-ring work that this man has been putting on since the pandemic. This man has had a fucking career resurgence in the ring since 2020. I'm talking like great matches, bro. But when I saw this man, let me take y'all back to like early 2020 when I seen this man get a great match out of Jeff Hardy on SmackDown in the Performance Center when it was like fucking 15 people in the Lord behind the little barricades, and it was a good fucking match. Sheamus was putting on great shit with Big E, all these different people, and still doing it. I'm just like, dog, when are y'all just gonna get this man this fucking, and then you move him away from what he on the same Imperium on Monday Night Raw, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and Brawl and Bruce, they stayed on SmackDown, right?
SmackDown, yeah.
Okay, yes. So
they're gonna feel pretty deadly. That's perfect. That's perfect for them.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. To be completely honest, I ain't gonna lie to you. I like Pretty Deadly. I like Pretty Deadly. I think they're good. I think they're a good tag team.
I love them.
I like
they're a good tag team.
I like them too. We got King of the North. One more suggestion. He's got a bunch of good ones. Braun versus Ray, and where he runs through the LWO Job Squad because that's
notice all the faces we're saying on SmackDown. Where are the Raw baby faces?
I mean, Raw has baby faces, but they're all top level guys. Seth, Drew, Cody.
Are we counting Drew? Yeah, it's Seth.
Yeah, I was saying, we counting Drew.
Hey, I count Drew for now until he turns heel.
Hey, they mentioned Drew on TV a lot. They mentioned him on social media too, so that's cool.
So he might be coming. Maybe he's a candidate to win Money in the Bank, and then he can turn by using Money in the Bank. You could do that. We just got 3 final shows. Romeo, all you got to think about is what your matches of the week. You watch everything, so give us 3. You could close out the show with us. GCW had their Fight Night Brooklyn show this past week. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Tony Deppen in a match where Deppen unfortunately suffered a serious arm injury. He reported that on social media, so speedy recovery for Deppen. You also had Masha Slamovich beat Alec Price to retain the GCW World title. The SAT beat Wasted Youth in a fun tag team match, which had an insane double suplex spot off the top rope, which was insane. Our producer, Baby Seth, was there live for that. You had Jordan Oliver defeated Cole Radrick to retain the GCW World Championship. Also on Thursday, you had Impact on AxS TV. The show featured The Coven beating Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo to retain the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Post-match, The Coven jumped Grace until Trinity came out to make the save in her second week in Impact Wrestling. You had Nick Aldis made his in-ring return to Impact, defeating Sheldon Jean. Masha Slamovich defeated Killer Kelly in a rock-solid opener. And you also had Steve Macklin defeating a Rhino in a brutal beatdown to retain the Impact World Championship. In Impact news, Trinity is with Impact for at least the next few months. According to a new report, Fightful Select reported that Trinity, the former Naomi in WWE, has commitments with the company that lasts into the summer. And it is worth noting that the report only notes that Trinity has commitments that long and and say nothing about whether they will extend longer than that. She made her debut in late April at the Impact tapings in Chicago, and she will be competing at Impact Under Siege in a open contract match at the May 26th Impact event. We'll do predictions on that next week here on Tru Heel Heat. And Impact Wrestling has announced that former WWE NXT UK wrestlers Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster will debut with the company at Under Siege. They will challenge the Impact World Tag Team Champions Chris Bay and Ace Austin, the ABC, and the event happens on May 26th, airs on Impact Plus. What do you think overall about Impact Wrestling right now, Andrew, and Trinity being with the company for the next couple of months?
Yeah, I saw. I think she posted it on her social media. She posted it on Instagram and her Twitter, like her schedule, like layout, and it said through the SummerSlam, Slammiversary television tapings in July. So for real, I think Impact is gonna be a good fit for her. Like I'm curious to see. I think much like everybody, they're kind of curious to see like what is going to come after that. Like, could there be a potential long term, like, or maybe she stays with the company, like through Bound for Glory or something along those lines, just to see what's next. But I think that Impact is going to be a good fit for her. Like I don't, maybe they'll put the title on her, but I think that'll come if she chooses to extend. If she extends, then I think she'll win the title at some point later this year. But I think for now, you'll just see, you'll get the matches you want to see. You'll get her versus Deanna. You'll get her versus Jordan Grace. You'll get her versus Masha and Killer Kelly. And, see her mix it up with Taylor Wilde. And she's facing Counter King on next week's show. And I think that was from the Slugfest tapings that they had in Illinois. So, man, I think I think Impact going to be a good fit for Trinity, man. She seemed like she's having a good time. So, especially coming off the shit they was dealing with in WWE. So I mean, you really can't ask for nothing better than that. But just looking at Impact as a whole, I know they got you got the Under Siege show coming up. I was surprised to see the Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews matching. I wasn't expecting them to be, but I think that's nice. That's a nice switch up for the tag team division. I feel like Impact's tag division is good, but you just needed some fresh faces in there, and you definitely get some fresh faces with Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. So I think that's going to be a good match, and it'll be a great win for Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Steve Maclin is world champion. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. Like, I ain't got no issue with it.
That was like, it's all right.
Yeah, it's cool. I ain't got no issue with Steve Maclin or nothing like that. But I think they probably just, slowly trying to get to him versus Nick Aldis. And then they'll get to that story when they get to it. And man, that's
heal
something.
up Alexander.
Yeah, heal up, man. I cannot wait for Josh Alexander to get back, bro.
Shout out to Maclin and Aldis. Both of our interviews with them did 1,000 views on the channel. So appreciate them, and thanks to everyone who's been showing the support for the interviews. Final show that we missed from this past week, RoH TV on Honor Club. The show featured Athena defeating Sky Blue in
one of my matches of the week.
Main event right here to retain the RoH Women's World Championship. You also had Samoa Joe beat Blake Christian to retain the RoH World Television Championship, and Mark Briscoe defeated Shane Taylor in a highly entertaining opener. And you said it, Andrew, so let's close things out with the match of the week. This is where we here at the Tru Heel Heat on the Flagship Podcast give you our top 3 to 5 matches from this past week, the matches that we think should be the most watch or the must-watch matches that you need to watch from this week. And as per usual, me, myself, I watch a lot of professional wrestling, so I always have to do 5. I will say my honorable mention this week is the Aoki versus Oki Abashi match from Big Japan Wrestling. I actually went out my way to watch that, and that doesn't technically fit into our last Saturday to Friday time frame, so that's why it's an honorable mention, but it's one of the best matches of the year from Japan. Definitely go out of your way to watch that if you can watch Big Japan. But my 5 for this week, number 5, Bianca Belair versus Io Sky from WWE Backlash last Saturday. Number 4, Claudio Castagnoli versus Rey Fenix from AEW Dynamite. Number 3, Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest from WWE Backlash last Saturday. Number 2, Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, the Steel Cage match from AEW Dynamite. And number 1, one of my favorite matches of the year, Hiromu Takahashi versus Speedball Mike Bailey from the Best of the Super Juniors. Day one of the most must-watch matches from New Japan I've seen all year long. Definitely go out of your way to watch that. Hiromu is quietly having a Wrestler of the Year campaign, and he's had my Match of the Week #1 spot for the past 2 weeks. Last week against Sonata from Dantaku. This week, Speedball. Andrew, what's your 3 from this past week?
Okay, so I forgot that we was including the Backlash stuff, so I'm gonna try to weave something in there. But
you can make it 5. You can extend to 5 if you want.
All right, that's cool. I appreciate the contract extension, but I'm gonna say for in no particular order, I'm gonna just say Speedball versus Hiromu and night 1, the Best of the Super Juniors. Like I told you, I didn't see the whole show, but I definitely went to go catch the main event. Definitely delivered, and I'm not surprised that it delivered. I'm gonna say Athena and Sky Blue because that was like recent memory, and I went to go catch that because I actually saw you and I saw a couple of other people that I follow on Twitter like big talking the match. So I was like, let me go see what was happening with this, and it again, just much like the Hiromu Speedball match, it delivered. But Athena is quietly having like one of the best runs of her career, probably not even probably. I think the best run,
the
best run of her career. Like a part of me wishes it was like on AEW's main program, because more eyeballs and stuff. But like, if you're paying attention, you see it. You know what I'm saying? You see it. Athena's doing like really great work, and I'm gonna say another one. I really enjoyed the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match. Really, really enjoyed all that and the theatrics and the pop and circumstance and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's peak WWE right there, man. When they got it, they got it.
They on it. They on one, and they were on. That was like one of the best spectacles WWE
should have been a main event.
I understand now because I spoke to Adrian Hernandez, who was live there in Puerto Rico, and we spoke to him on In the Weeds on Monday on Fightful Overbooked, and he said it was basically the fact they did that was before 10 p.m. in Puerto Rico. They wanted to get like that match out there so it could be on the 10 o'clock news in Puerto Rico. So
that's smart.
That was like the only thing that made sense from anyone that I heard about, why Bad Bunny and Damian Priest wasn't in the main event. And when he said that, I was like, okay, that actually is smart, and it makes sense for them to do it that way. So I understand now.
For sure.
Romeo?
I need to watch that Hiromu Speedball match that you're talking about. I'll probably watch it when we're done here. Number 5, the triple threat from Raw, which was Seth, Shinsuke, Priest. Number 4, the triple threat from SmackDown, which was Edge, Sheamus, and Ray. Even though they botched that spear at the end. I don't know what Edge was loopy or what. If he would have hit that, it would have been so much better. But yeah, number 3, Omega Mox Cage Dynamite.
Yeah.
And for the top 2, I'm going to Puerto Rico. Bianca Belair versus new honorary Puerto Rican Io Sky. And number 1, of course, Priest Bunny put on a show for Puerto Rico. Man, so proud.
The epic. I was wondering why he got up, but now we know why. He had to get his sleeve.
It's like, how's my sleeve?
No, thank you so much, everyone in the chat. Let us know your match of the week, your top 3, top 5 from the week. You can let us know in the live chat before we close things off here, or in the comments down below. Comments down below always help out the viewership for our video on demand. So let us know in the comments down below your top 3, top 5 matches from this past week. But that brings us to a close on another edition of our Flash Hit podcast. Gotta thank the good brother Andrew Thompson for being with us this week. Yeah, thank you. Yo, this is the best Wi-Fi ever. 5 stars. 5 stars.
What a performance.
What a performance by the Wi-Fi. MVP for the week, Andrew's Wi-Fi. Yes, Andrew, please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, your writing at Post Wrestling, NWA podcast, everything else, and tell them where to get that Wi-Fi.
Bro, y'all funny as shit,
Spectrum,
bro.
Spectrum. Spectrum.
Hey, bro. Y'all are hilarious, dog. Y'all can follow me on Twitter, man, at AD Thompson __. Same thing on Instagram. I'm gonna be putting up some new clips on my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get some new interviews going back up. I sort of took a break from it, but I just been putting like interview clips up every once in a while. So I'm gonna try to get back into the mix of doing some interviews. But I'm definitely still writing, man. You can check out my written work over at postwrestling.com. You know, I'm on there throwing up different articles and posting the news updates a couple times a week. So yeah, definitely check that out, man. And go support my people over there at Tru Heel Heat, man. I always appreciate the invite on. Good folks over here. They stay out the way, man, and they just put in the work. So yeah, shout out to y'all, bro.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Always one of our best guests. Always someone that we love having here on the show. A member of the cookout.
Talking about some Spectrum.
Pop for the Spectrum plug. Romeo, let the people know where they can see you in just a few short hours. Twitch.tv/Tru Heel Heat Gaming for Romeo Anthony Colon YouTube channel, The Night of Champions. Watch along.
Join us 4 p.m. Eastern, going to whatever time. We'll see. We'll spin the wheel. We'll watch some old matches and hopefully get some good stuff. Follow me for Romeo Anthony, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Check me out here on this channel. Rated Raw Superstars, Raw Watch-Alongs, Tuesdays, NX3, NXT Watch-Alongs, Dynamite Watch-Alongs, and pay-per-view previews, Watch-Alongs, reviews. Check out Tru Heel Heat Sports, where we watch some sports over there. We do some sports podcasts over there. Subscribe. We're close to 400 subscribers over there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Look at all the plugs. He was on Friday Night Warriors last night. He was on NX3 earlier this week. Elite Heat, Rated Raw Superstars. He's the face and the ace. I'm just here doing my thing, shooting shots on the flagship show like Austin Reeves. And unlike RJ Barrett, just saying, go Lakers. We in here. We in the conference finals. Unlike your bum ass Knicks. Follow me on the.
I'm waiting. Waiting when it all comes crashing down. When it comes crashing down.
Even when it comes crashing down, you know what I'll say? We got farther than the Knicks. Follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel.
Raise the banner.
Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month. More exclusive content. The Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship. I lost my top spot, but I'm in the top 2. I'll still be in here in these streets. Subscribe to Tru Heel Heat Sports. We're going live tomorrow for the NBA playoffs, Game 7. Philly and Boston, so check us out for that, and check out all the great content we got on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Andrew mentioned it earlier. My interview with Sami Callihan is up right now. Go over to For Romeo Anthony Colon YouTube channel and twitch.tv/Tru Heel Heat Gaming, 4 p.m. Eastern time for our Night of Champions, Clash of the Champions watch along. And next week, right here on the Tru Heel Heat flagship show, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time, we got special guest Zach Haydorn of PW Torch. So join us live next week, next Saturday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. But for Andrew Thompson, our guest host for this week, for all of our special guests, Professor Kris, Nate Milton, Jane News, and Romeo, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 225, straight as Jesus' second coming. We are signing off until